Hello, this is Russ Tanner from Global Skywatch, and it is October 21st, 2013, and this is Global Skywatch Radio. Here we talk about the largest crime against humanity in human history, which is happening over your heads right now, and it's called geoengineering, and it's called chemtrails, and it is the release of toxic metals into the atmosphere for the purported purpose of controlling global warming. But what it does is destroys soils, it interferes with biological systems, it interferes with plant growth, it kills animals and harms animals, and kills and harms humans. Cancer, aneurysms, strokes, heart attacks. I call that the big four. Those are four of the most common symptoms that we see as a result of this spraying. For those who are new, we have a lot of people joining us tonight. For those who are new, geoengineering / chemtrails is something that has been going on for decades, but it became very widespread between 2000 and 2005, being reported all over the world, especially in Western Europe and the United States. It has since become seen in the Asian countries and South America. And consequently, those people who are sensitive to it, like myself, have smelled it, have tasted it, and have become sick from it. And those few of us who can smell and taste it correlate it with changes in human behavior. We correlate it with changes in human health. We see how people act differently. We see how people's health have degraded. And those sensitive ones of us, like myself, who smell it and taste it, have become sick and suffered symptoms almost continuously since 2005, which is the year that I first had it sprayed on the town I lived in at the time, constantly, on a daily basis, on a schedule. So if you're new to this subject, this is the largest crime against humanity in human history. There is nothing that comes close to this. When this is going on, as this is going on, nothing else matters. And I don't mean that literally, I mean that figuratively, because if you don't have your health, if your immune system is being suppressed, if you can't think right, if you can't work, if your joints deteriorate, if you get exotic diseases that are quite certainly associated with spraying, like Morgellons disease, which is becoming more and more popular, and you can't function, then what else matters? This show is all about what you're not going to hear in mainstream media. And as hard as it for you to believe, for those who are new to us. Now, those who have studied this know this and understand this, that mainstream media is controlled by the corporate conglomerates that are all controlled by a very small group of people through Class A stock ownership, et cetera, et cetera. This is the way the world really works. And this is what we have to come together and realize and support each other. And we have to put an end to this. We look at the diseases that we have today and we so often say, oh, we have this disease and the cause is this. But when we look at the cause, let's say that we have a lot of disease. We have over 200 of the most popular diseases caused by mercury, and we have mercury in vaccines, we have mercury in amalgam fillings, and mercury comes from other sources as well, but those are the two largest human sources of mercury. What is the symptom of mercury in amalgam fillings when we know, according to Dr. Huggins, it's been outlawed twice in American history, and yet an organization would come up and then get it re-implemented in the industry? So the symptom, the fact that we have mercury in amalgam fillings, is a symptom of a larger problem, and that problem is corruption. It's people who profit by the destruction, the pain, suffering, ill health of other people. So really, isn't that the problem? You won't hear this in mainstream media because mainstream media is controlled by the industries that perpetuate this corruption. So why would they expose themselves? So we're turning to alternative media shows like this and like so many others that are exposing this information. So I want to welcome you all tonight. I am very, very, very honored to have with us two guests and a special visit. First, we're going to talk to Alex Hunter, then we're going to talk to MadisonStar Moon, and then John Massaria. We're going to introduce these as we go along. But I do want to welcome you all. If you want to call in and you're listening to the live stream on live stream, you can call in using the number 559-726-1300, and you'll need an access code, which is 156230. You'll be asked for that access code in order to talk. That's the call-in console. If that console goes down, it's gone down 3 times in the last 5 shows that we've done suddenly. During really special shows, we had a special Clifford Connor come on, and we were talking about more gallons. Console went down for 30 minutes. So that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. But nevertheless, if it does fail, please keep trying to call back in. We will be taking calls, questions, supports, comments, whatever you want to talk about afterward. But I want to get to our guests, and I want to let you know, if you do want to call in, you need that number. There are about 20 international phone numbers. You can call from 20 different countries by making a local phone call. If you want to get those numbers, go to globalskywatch.com/live, LIVE, all small letters. globalskywatch.com/live, and you can get all of the international phone numbers there. And you can also see a complete database of all of our previous shows. If you want to see Clifford Carnicom, you want to see any of our previous shows, John Massaria has been with us before, MadisonStar Moon's been with us, Alex has been with us before, and we have all of those shows archived so you can listen to them and learn from them. All right, I want to go ahead and get I want to go ahead and talk to Alex for a couple minutes to start things off. What I want to do is I'm going to put us in Q&A mode.
Q&A session started.
All right, Alex, if you would be so kind and press *6 on your phone so you can come up on my console so I can enable you. That'll save me a few seconds of having to look up your number, and we can go ahead and have you on. So just press *6 on your phone. I do want to. There he is. Alex, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Russ, and how are you?
Oh, I am hanging in there. Been a tough day. It's been a mad day of spraying. We've been hit by what I call the iron-type chemtrails all day. Nasty headaches, joint pain, fatigue. What's going on in your side of the country?
Really ugly right now in the lower mainland area. We're covered with quote-unquote fog, which is very typical at this time of year when there's an inversion, like where the air is colder than the water. But the color of the fog is all wrong. It's like gray and brown and sometimes reddish, murky red, which I assume might be red phosphorus or strontium. The military is definitely using it as an aerosol delivery system, like an aerosol electromagnetic delivery system for chemical and biological and advanced biological and genetic warfare. And I was just working with a friend of mine who, like I said before just before the show started, that his dad used to work in the Canadian military in a bio-warfare and aerosol component of the military. And we were both convinced that we were being poisoned, like it wasn't good. And there's not a doubt in our mind that this bio weapons in the aerosol we're breathing in, and we could tell by our symptoms. Some of us seem to get hit more heavily than others, and I'm assuming that targeted individuals, investigative reporters, and whistleblowers, and activists, dissidents, etc., are the target. So it's the use of electromagnetic, biological, chemical, and advanced biological and genetic technotronic warfare for political control. And that's definitely happening here. And if anyone was around looking at this aerosol, they'd see that it's the wrong color. It's not white.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can vouch for you. As I've said many times before, I smell and taste it. I have a very sensitive sense of smell and taste. So I almost feel like I've been destined for this issue. I suffer from it. And I want to tell the public, just because you don't smell and taste it, don't think it's not there, because people like me smell and taste it in the air. It's now 24/7. In the beginning, it wasn't 24/7. It was just at scheduled times throughout the day. So don't think that it's not there. They spray and keep the intensity just below the level that most people can sense it. When it gets overwhelming to me, then the people around me start saying, yeah, there's a little metallic taste in it. They began to sense it. So I want to make people aware of that. Alex, I want to also ask you, you've been doing this for a long time. Do you want to mention your Brutal Truth campaign?
Well, we've been making vehicles to raise awareness of chemtrails, and the latest thing is I want to make a fleet of KC-135 U.S. military KC-135 fueling tankers, which are aircraft that spray chemtrails most often in our sector. I know it changes from place to place. Sometimes they're commercial jets that have been absconded by the military for those purposes, etc. But so what we want to do is make a fleet of KC-135 Cadillacs and drive up the highway with smoke billowing out the backs of our jet engines or wingtips, and that will get hit by the downdraft or the turbulence from the car going by and kick it up and completely obscure anyone's vision so they can't follow us until they get the helicopter, I guess. And we want to have an onboard camera on each Cadillac, so they're filming into the car from the front of the car, so you actually see the front of the aircraft. You know, it's supposed to be an aircraft. And then we're going to have like a bait cam dash cam thing going, like a bait car dash cam. And you'll have a couple of really dedicated activists in the cockpit being filmed, and hopefully we can get this up onto the internet and flip it around and get DVDs burned and flip it around and raise awareness to what's going on, because there's just not enough of it.
Now, where can people go online to find out more about this? I know on the Global Skywatch website, if people want to, we do have a couple pages dedicated to your project. If you go to globalskywatch.com, and at the top, click on projects. In fact, I'll do it on the live stream right here. Here's the Global Skywatch website. Click on projects right here. And when you click on...
You might not want to do that, because I have disaffiliated myself with those people because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. So it's unfortunate, but this happened.
Okay, well, do you have a website or somewhere people can... Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have a place that people can go to learn more, or is that up and coming?
Absolutely. Well, all three of my Facebook groups and the Facebook page itself, but as you know, that's getting censored all the time too. So Joker Tattoo is my own personal YouTube channel. It's been censored most heavily for a long time now as well. But we're trying to use that and then get people to mirror whatever I do. I'm not after the hits. I don't care about fame or anything like that. I just want people to know what's going on. Like, we have children that are getting killed right now, and I'd throw myself in front of a bus to push a child out of the way of harm. That's one child, and we have 2 billion at risk. So it's not.
That's right.
You know, it's pretty easy math.
That's right. I totally feel the same way. I mean, there's nothing that gets under that gets to me more than seeing children hurt, and it's just that gets under my skin too.
Oh yeah, and we got to do everything we can now because we're out of time. I mean, most people don't even realize how late the game it is. But looking around, the photographs I've been posting to my Facebook page show that we've got like really weird aerosol all around us all the time, and you've got corresponding symptoms. And one would only need to be in contact with someone in healthcare to recognize that. So what they should do is they should go in and interview people in the healthcare system and just make a point of going around in a community. You should have groups of activists that are locked arms already and that are willing to go out into the community to do these studies and get tests and samples taken and get them actually tested by somebody that's going to give them real results, not a lab. There can be no software governing the tests because they give you a neutral like they did with our water samples for strontium and aluminum. So, you know, basically, I said this reminds me of the 2000 U.S. federal election. Is there a software program governing these neutral results? And with quotations around it, of course. And the guy said, "Oh, you're freaking me out now." Yes. And I said, "I thought so. It had to have been. What else could it be?" The levels of strontium and barium and aluminum would have been massive.
Wow. What's amazing to me is I had a heart attack in 2011. The only problem, after they did a whole slew of tests for 4 days, nothing wrong. My arteries are remarkable. That's what the cardiologist said. And of course, I do a lot to take care of myself. You know what the only problem they found was? Extremely low potassium. And guess what barium does? It lowers potassium. It lowers potassium. And guess what? When I went into the emergency room, it was after 2 days of intense spraying that I was not able to wear my wet mask. And I was having that horrible heart pain that I do when they, not so much anymore because now I do a potassium and taurine supplementation. But when I went in the hospital at night after 2 days of intensive spraying, guess what? the hospital was full to capacity. I had to stay in the ICU overnight because there were no beds available.
Right, and so that kind of knocks off the idea that it was a targeting, like you were electronically targeted and given a heart attack, because we know they're doing that too.
Right.
I saw Kate Willens had an event about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I talked to her afterwards, and then she started to look at other things that might have contributed to it, so we can't say for sure. But there's been a lot of people having these issues, like when they have chest pain and they go in for, to be seen for a heart attack. And in her case, it showed that the hormone had been released, that shows that your heart's under stress.
Yeah.
I wonder if you didn't have that as well. And it would be very interesting. But you have the potassium deficiency, and that's very common with that sort of thing. And taurine is awesome. It helps metabolize the vitamins and supplements, herbal remedies, etc., that we take to keep ourselves alive in this mess.
That's right. Taurine especially is important for keeping the electrolytes like magnesium and potassium around your heart. And I don't prescribe, treat, diagnose, or cure symptoms, conditions, or diseases because I'm not a doctor, but I do give people, I share my experience with people in potassium and taurine supplementation and magnesium, because mercury, which I believe is one of the components in chemtrails, and I have a lot of information to back this up, mercury blocks not only selenium and zinc and vitamin C, but it also blocks magnesium. So you get these twitchy muscles, and you can also have heart problems from that as well. So I supplement magnesium, potassium, and taurine in it, and it really, during these really hard spray times, it really helps my heart tremendously.
Yeah. Well, I'm on a regimen of things that I tried to post and keep updated, but we're so busy and strapped for time and money and everything now that there's nowhere near enough help to keep us going. We just don't have the manpower and the budget to maintain the sites and things and the things that we're trying to do. So we try and do the best we can under the circumstances, and I see that everybody's being divided and conquered all the time. Every time we form a group, we lose the momentum in the same way every time. It's just, it defies natural human conduct. There's something going on that's driving us all apart. And I suggest that it's a software program hooked up to the supercomputer into which all our data has been fed. And if you think about it long enough, of course they're doing that.
Well,
so there's a lot of electronic warfare being used against us right now that people aren't even aware that they think you were crazy even for mentioning it. But
yeah, and just before we got on, just about 8:15, just when I first started the pre-talk session of the show, that's when we just chat, and we're not officially online, but we let people listen into our chatting. Harp, I call it the harp hum. There's two different ones. There's a hum, and then sometimes it's a rumble sound. But the harp hum was very, very loud, and we've just found research a few weeks ago that shows that certain frequencies, when they're encountered by mammals, actually dramatically increase the permeability of cell walls, so that you can deliver much more whatever you're delivering, whether it's pharmaceutical, whether it's metallic toxin, whatever, is those frequencies actually open up the cell walls and allow things to pass in that normally wouldn't go in.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't heard of anything like that yet, but of course that they'd be doing that. Yeah, makes total sense.
Well, absolutely. Well, listen, this is a great segue to talk about, we're talking about conquering, dividing. We have an army of people. I believe there's several $100 million possibly been allocated at this point for disinformation services in the United States. We're going to get into this tonight, because if you're listening for the first time and you don't know that this is taking place, that your government actually spends tremendous amount of money, gives us money to contractors, and they have rooms full of people who sit in cubicles, and they create fake blogs, Facebook accounts, websites that spread lies to try to keep you confused and disinformed about this subject. Alex, you wrote about this just this past week. I'm going to put a copy of your article up on the stream right now. What happened?
Okay, well, that's my son in the picture in the article, which is on Winnipeg Alternative Media, WAM, W-A-M. And a friend of mine that is running it is going to have me doing feature articles on aerosol electromagnetic technotronic warfare, probably weekly. So the first one was this one, and I mentioned to him while we were talking on Facebook that this incident had happened on January the 1st New Year's Eve 2010. So January the 1st, 2010. Just shortly after midnight, a friend offered to have us driven home from our friend's boat, the guy that runs the HOC clinic in Victoria, the hyperbaric oxygen clinic. And we were there watching fireworks and stuff with him, and then he went to bed, so we went next door to his friend's place. And we were watching the fireworks, and then the girl whose boat we were on said, "Oh, this guy will drive you home." And so we got in the guy's truck. She said he's a nice guy and everything. We got in his truck, and it looked like we were inside a rocket ship. It just had all kinds of electronic doo-dingers, and the dash was just lit up like a spaceship. And the guy said, "Wow, I'm really tired. I just worked a 40-hour shift." And I said, "Oh, that sounds like what I do in the movie industry. I'm in the special effects department. What do you do?" And he said, "I'm in the Navy." And so right away I said, "Well, what do you think of HAARP and chemtrails?" Because, I realized we're sitting in the enemy's cockpit here. My kids were behind him in the jump seats, in the truck. And he said, and I said, "You're not allowed to talk about it." He said, "No." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what I know." And so I went on to tell him it was globalist genocide, essentially, and that they were using it to kill off the world's food supply and 90 to 95% of the human population, and it was about global domination, tyranny, and biotechnological enslavement. And he said, and I said that we've been electronically censored, sabotaged, and attacked for putting that information online through my YouTube channel at the time. And he said, "Oh, that's what I do." And the truck just went icy cold. My children were right behind him, and I thought they were going to lynch him. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but the vibes in the truck changed dramatically. And it turns out that they thought I was just going to beat the shit out of them, and they were frightened. So we were and on edge, ready to go, kind of thing. I looked at the guy and I just thought, what, because they've been torturing my son and I and my daughter, but mostly my son and I, my youngest child and I, by that point in time for at least a year, if not a little more, probably a year and a quarter or something. And I said to him, and I knew he was tired, and I was twice his age. I was 46, and he was 23. So I said, it's often puzzled me how you people can think you're heroes and quote-unquote peacekeepers on the world stage while you're spraying your own women, children, elderly, infirm, clan, country folk, Mother Earth, or creatures and ecosystems with poison. And he blurted out in defense, because I hit him with the coward punch. I think I said the word coward, but I can't remember exactly. He said, "Well, we wouldn't have had to do this if people would have agreed to population caps," quote unquote, from an intelligence agent in the Canadian Navy.
Wow.
There it is.
There it is right there. That's right.
So the bill of goods, and like it says in the article at the very end, our understanding how they've been manipulated, compartmentalized, indoctrinated, brainwashed, mind controlled, terrorized, and blackmailed into performing their various components of the globalist agenda. It's like a corporate management structure, and each and every one of them is duped into doing their own part of this thing. And our understanding that is our only hope. If we can actually get through to people and show them that they've been duped into doing this, we might stand a chance. Because, and I don't disagree that this is the worst threat in the world. Aerosol electromagnetic technotronic warfare is definitely the worst threat to humanity in the world. But the technotronic component, if they can mind control people and get them to do absolutely anything, like turn off their conscience if they're in the military or whatever, and they've already selected the most psychopathic and easily manipulated meatheads they could find. If they can actually get them and maintain control over administration or any prolific human being, whether it be the President of the United States or Putin, I don't care who, then we're in a lot of trouble. Because every time we tried to form a group and do something about this and do anything of any significance, I'm president and founder of the Canadian and American Coalition for the Walking Wounded and the Brutal Truth Movement worldwide. And I can't get 5 people together to do any action because every time I go to do it, they're incapacitated. What a coincidence. They just get sick, they can't show up, they're terrified, or they're scared off, they have heart attacks, strokes, die, things like this. And Werner Bach would testify to the fact that that happened to people in our immediate vicinity doing the Advanced Activist Advisory and also doing the Canadian and American Coalition of the Walking Wounded, because Marianne Hannon was one of my co-founders in that. And we had gotten together across Canada, a number of our members, in order to save Byron Pryor from certain death, where he'd been incarcerated under Section 300 of the Criminal Code of Canada in a Waterford psych hospital. They always use the medical and legal and mental health systems to silence and control activists, dissidents, whistleblowers, investigative reporters, and otherwise targeted individuals.
Uh-huh.
And so they were killing Byron with his blood pressure medication. So my children and I agreed to stand up, recognizing the significance of electronic warfare, the covert use of directed energy weapons for political control. And once we realized it was really happening, because we saw it happening in the forum, we agreed that we had a vote. We agreed to stand up and fight this fight. And since then, my family's been completely destroyed. I'm 100% on my own fighting this fight still. The kids basically don't want anything to do with activism, and they've just gone their own way, and it's not good. It's ugly. What happened was horrific. But this is the kind of people that have to fight this fight, is people that will sacrifice themselves and everything they know and love in order to fight this fight, because otherwise, as you know, most people would just capitulate as soon as they got the first couple of shots,
Yeah.
fired across the mouth.
Now I've got a shot on our live stream of the article that you wrote about this event where this guy admitted. Let's just be clear: did this guy admit that he was involved in the electronic targeting of people or spreading disinformation? What aspect of it was he specifically involved in?
He admitted to electronically censoring, sabotaging, and attacking individuals with electronic warfare, and he's in the intelligence community, quote unquote, intelligence community, military intelligence in Victoria, home to the quote unquote Canadian Navy. And he just worked a 40-hour shift over Christmas, New Year's, and he was so exhausted he just was an easy target. It was easy to call him a coward and get him to react from the gut, like a knee-jerk reaction.
Well, that was a good opportunity. I'm so glad you did that. Because it's waking up, and we've got a pretty good crowd of people here. We've got a good crowd on the live stream and a good crowd of people who have called into the console. I'm sure a lot of those are going to want to speak and ask questions or just want to listen. But some people who are listening to us haven't heard about this before or are on the fence that this really goes on. What do you want to say to those people who are on the fence or just learning about this?
Okay, there's no shortage of proof that there's a master slave society on a global scale that's been in place for thousands of years. You can trace all but one U.S. president back through Queen Elizabeth, William of Orange, to ancient Egypt and Ethiopia. So there's that. Now, they've always used advanced and withheld information, technology, science, whatever, would give them a advantage over everybody else, and only release it as it's redundant. And they have something better. So these cell phones we talk on, like iPhones and stuff, have the ability to transmit and receive massive amounts of data, and that they're outdated, really, they're redundant by the point in time they've given them to us, and completely weaponized, by the way, not only as spying tools and data mining tools, but also as things that can actually microwave you. Like Heather Derry Gallegos, and she's been supporting me on Facebook for a very long time, and our cell phone batteries drain twice an hour or maybe 2 times in 2 hours in the morning, whereas usually you can make it last a day and a half. And we don't have all kinds of applications open. The thing heats right up. Our laptops go into high gear and microwave us and radiate us, and it keeps us very sick. And as you know, she's sick, right? So it's not difficult to incapacitate her and make her back off and stay down. So this is what happens with everybody that really tries to support me, and there's a very clear trail of dozens of people on my Facebook pages and groups. There's FTNWO, the Brutal Truth Movement Worldwide, or Canada, and then there's another one called CCWW, ACWW, which is the Canadian and American Coalition for the Walking Wounded. CCWW, ACWW, World War III Global Domination and Population Reduction Agenda Advisory. So never make a group with that many words in it because it's retarded, because you got to keep saying it. Anyway, all the people that were in there that were supporting me over the years you could see a clear pattern and a direct increase over the last, say, year and a half of these people saying that they've been attacked electronically ever since they started to support me.
And one thing, I want to support what you're saying, Alex, and letting people know if you're new to this subject, and I specialize in new people. That's where my passion is. I want to introduce the public to this so that their eyes can be open. That is my passion, because we need open eyes to put an end to this, and boy, do I want this to end. But there has been technology that was introduced back 20 years ago where they would throw a speed bump across the road and it would shut down your car for 30 minutes, and then your car would start up 30 minutes later. And they test marketed that idea by putting the article showing that those things were being made in Popular Electronics magazine. And I saw the article myself, and I'm an electronics guy. I'm very interested in electronics. I like it. It's fun. It's cool. And I know, because I've got training in electronics, that you can't damage something like a car computer so that it specifically is dead for 30 minutes and then comes back to life. If you damage the computer, it is damaged for good, and you need to replace it or fix the chips or whatever is damaged. So they were trying to market this to the public because they often, or once in a while, they underestimate the intelligence of the public. And so they were trying to sell this idea to the public, and then immediately it went away. The articles were gone. Never heard about it again, because the public realizes that there are too many people who know about electronics. You can't damage a system and have it fine 30 minutes later. You have to build that capability into the computer in the design stage. It has to be designed in from the very beginning. And for that reason, it's the only conclusion is that it's absolutely intentional. So I want people who are calling in and just learning, or listening into our live stream and just learning about this. This stuff is real. This is intentionally designed. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, it certainly is intentionally designed. It's been built in, and they had this plan for decades in advance. You can really see a lot of fingerprints on the. There's a clear trail of the development and application of this technology. Werner Bach is a case in point. He's been having his cattle mutilated since 1975, and he's being persecuted in New Brunswick right now by the RCMP, which is the Rotten Canadian Mounted Police.
Now his story is on YouTube. You can search for Werner, like, is it WERNER, Werner Bach?
Bach, B-O-C-K.
Yeah, do a YouTube search for.
I host his videos, and then there's also a Support Werner Bach page, which I encourage people to get into and start drumming up support for him as he goes through the legal system. Because if we let people do this to people, like, this is a 71-year-old farmer that just had to sell all his cows, and he'd held on right up until now, and they're just killing him. And he's been gassed and microwaved every time he goes out in his field. He's being made sick. At night, he's made sick when he turns off the lights and tries to sleep. Mary Ann was killed on his farm. And it just goes on. And he's been trying to get the government and the regulatory agencies and the Humane Society and any organ of the federal or provincial government to help expose this. And it's the use of directed energy weapons for political control again. That the military is using this to drive farmers off their land and to mutilate cattle, and to get people to buy into the big farming operations, mega agribusiness, and do the Monsanto thing rather than the mom and pop farms to produce healthy livestock.
Now Werner calls me every so often. I've spoken to him a number of times. He's a wonderful guy. He's a very passionate guy who wants righteousness. He wants government to do the right thing. He wants the corruption to be gone. He doesn't want a government that uses any kind of electronic warfare or chemtrail spraying against the public. It is absolutely insane that this is happening, but it's happening because people have been resistant. The public has been resistant to learn about all this stuff because it's frightening. It's not something people like to talk about at the dinner table. But listen, I've got a couple guests that I need to bring on, and I want you to have some final words, Alex. Tell people where to go to learn more, and go ahead and say your final piece and let people know where they can find you online.
Sure, thanks, Russ. Yeah, well, I'm at Alex Hunter on Facebook. That sort of gets me. If you're lucky, you can get through. You can see people talking about me being censored from the time you get there, and you just go through the posts. And there's no shortage of examples of that going on, unless they're hiding them. So I'm Alex Hunter on Facebook, and then I have the FTNWO, the Brutal Truth Movement, Canada and also the CCWW, ACWW, World War III, Global Domination and Population Reduction Advisory, Agenda Advisory on Facebook. So those are 3 groups. And my YouTube channel is Joker Tattoo with 3 O's on the end of tattoo. And that's pretty much all I'm doing. I'm not able to run websites or anything like that right now because of a shortage of manpower, and I haven't been putting up a lot of videos. A, because we were being censored right off of Facebook and YouTube anyway, but B, because I've lost my son who was really helping me a lot do all the video stuff. Basically, he should get a Purple Heart for everything he endured over the last 4 years fighting this fight. It just got too dark, scary, and ugly for him. And so they just basically destroy your family. And, my advice to people that are going to do this is that we're going to die anyway. We might as well lose our fear and stand up like Dr. Carly says. Because if we don't, we're going to die miserably, like cowering, and really we should be standing up to protect our women and children, clan, country folk, elderly and infirm, the vulnerable people that need us to stand up like men and protect them. And unfortunately, we have to call on the women too. So like Dr. Caldecott said, it's a call to the mothers. Unfortunately, we need you to protect your children with the ferocity and determination with which a lioness would protect her cubs.
Yes, absolutely. And we do this not only to protect ourselves, but because we care about people. We are normal people that care about our families and our friends, and it is frustrating and heartbreaking to see people suffer unnecessarily. This doesn't have to happen, but we've got to get the corruption out and get people in these positions who have honor and have integrity, who would never think about hurting other people. This is not the function of government.
That's right. Yeah, governments commit genocide, not people. And there's no shortage of examples looking back through history what they do, and they always use people to do it, and then they get rid of them too, and that's clear throughout history as well. They don't keep the treacherous, cowardly traitors they used to kill us off, manipulating our own family members. Like these splits go right through the family. Yeah. And the manipulation is extreme, especially with technotronic warfare and mind control, so it's really important to think about that. The Brutal Truth Movement Canada and worldwide, what we tried to do was assemble a group of people around the globe who would collect people in their communities and go out and distribute information like the Brutal Truth, because so many people are putting out versions of the truth that keep them from getting targeted the most. And they don't like to be negative, apocalyptic, and depressing. But if we don't put out the brutal truth, we're all dead. And so there's no point in just engaging in soft activism. We have to go right for the throat and identify the most critical threats, being aerosol, electromagnetic, technotronic warfare, number 1 on the list. And then there's a whole host of things that we really have to address with respect to food, water, medicine, etc. I mean, vaccinations, you know the whole deal, the usual list of things.
Yeah, and if we don't address these things, the public is going to wish, once the public encounters, and we already are, but once we are on the brink of encountering such trouble from GMOs, from the technotronic warfare, from chemtrails, from the poison of the soils, and so many people are suffering, people are going to wish that they did something. Do not live in fear. Do not live in regret. We are living in times like no other, and this needs to stop. And if we don't get active right now, we're going to regret that we didn't. Alex, I've got to run, but I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for everything that you do. We'll have to talk about any updates on our website that talk about the projects you're involved in, so we can make sure those are all pointing to the right places. But thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much too, Russ. It's good to be on.
Yeah, great to have you. We'll chat again, and you have a great night. And we'll chat again soon, my friend. Take care.
Thanks very much, brother. You too.
All right.
For what you.
All right. We've got a couple guests I want to bring on in just a second, and I want to tell you, if you're listening, if you're new to this and you haven't heard about this stuff before, it can be frightening. It can be, whenever you encounter someone who doesn't have a conscience, who hurts other people, it's a frightening thing. And when you realize that mainstream media is not covering these subjects, it can be very frightening, because you start to realize that what you're facing is a conspiracy. And of course, the word conspiracy has been defamed in the mainstream media. But why have they defamed it? Because the very people who are committing the conspiracy don't want you to believe there's a conspiracy. If you've ever watched a movie, The Usual Suspects, it's kind of a brilliantly written movie, entertaining. And Kaiser Sosa in that movie says the most brilliant trick the devil ever pulled was in convincing the world that he doesn't exist. And that's the same philosophy. Is that the rules when you're in a confrontation is you need to know the person you're confronting. In other words, you need to know your enemy. You need to know the person who's coming against you. But if you don't know, or you believe that that person doesn't even exist, then how will you ever know it? Why will you ever be motivated to know that person? So this is what disinformation is all about. Now, I'm going to get to John and Madison in just a sec here, but I want to share with you what happened to me in the last couple weeks. Is I have been defamed and slandered on the internet, and I want to share with you what was said about me. And while I do this, I'm gonna bring my business partner and my friend Laura. She was actually on the show. She does herbal nutritional research and writing. Been a friend with her for years. Let me get her and see if she can come up here, because I want her to not only hear this, but I want her to talk about me. You there? There you come. Thank you, Laura. All right, Laura's up here in the room with me. Come on over here. Yeah, come on. We got, in order to hear you, got to come over.
Okay.
Yeah, Laura's not a media person. She's not really into it, which is cool. I totally get it. I totally understand, because really, neither am I. But I'm doing this because if this doesn't stop, I don't know how I'm going to live. Here is a website, and when we talk about these disinformation websites, I'm not going to give the URLs of them, because I don't want to give them any necessary exposure, any unnecessary exposure, because I don't want to expose them, because I don't want their lies to get any more ground or footing than they already have. And if you're looking at the live stream right now, you're looking at an article that I just became aware of about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, within the last 2 weeks, that's written about me. It's even got my picture stolen from Facebook up there that they put. And I've been slandered before. I'm going to show you a couple other little clips as well here in a second. And then we're going to talk to the real experts. Let me just read this article to you. And I don't even know what to say, except I'm going to give you the truth as I read this. But I am just sickened. I hate lies and I hate thieves, and I always have my entire life, because they destroy people. I think if people are good and they act good, they should be rewarded. If they act in a bad way, that there should be some type of consequence, so that they help become more mature. But let me just read this to you. This is I'm not going to say the names of these websites when I mention them, and just for our guests as well, I'm going to refer to them as Contrail Blah, Meta Blah, and this one I'm going to call it Illuminati Blah. It's a blogspot blog, and here's what's posted. It says, Russ Tanner, that's me, and why conspiracy theorists are dangerous mental patients. One person on our radar for quite some time is a man named Russ Tanner. Although he might look like a harmless tinfoil hat man and his profile is squeaky clean, this is only a recent event. Okay, so what they're implying there is my squeaky clean reputation is only recent, so they're implying that I have some kind of dark history, which is laughable to my friends and people who know me. I was the one who got picked on because I was the goody two-shoes guy of the group, and that's the way I've been all my life. This man claims a university education, and you notice the use of the word claims. These people who write these shills who write these articles, if you watch my articles I did, like What Happened to Joe Rogan, go back and look at some of the previous Global Skywatch videos that I've done, you'll notice that they use techniques, they use keywords like claims. You always make your opponent make claims, and then you're going to make statements, or you're going to witness something. So it kind of has much less weight. When somebody's claiming something, there's a lot of room for falsehood, and that's the perception that kind of a word implies. So the person who wrote this has some training in how to write disinformation, and of course, why wouldn't they be trained? Because this is what they're doing. Just like you heard Alexander talk about, he met somebody recently who was trained to spread disinformation and commit electronic warfare and uh, electronically harass and maybe take down websites or do these things against us. But anyway, these kind of people are trained, and obviously by the way that they write, they have some training. So anyway, this is only a recent event. This is what the article continues. It says, this man claims university education from the United Electronics Institute in Tampa, Florida. Although we have been able to track it on the website of the Florida Department of Education, it is not listed as a university, but as a post-secondary institution. First of all, I did go to United Electronics Institute. I clept the first quarter because I trained myself in electronics, so I took a test and went straight into the second quarter. They're trying to say that I'm being deceptive because I claim a university education. I don't claim a university education. I never have, and I'm not aware of anywhere on the web that says that I went to a university. I went to a private technical school in Tampa, Florida. I used to drive, in Tampa traffic every day from Newport Richey to Tampa, and then I'd go home, go to my work, and drive back to Tampa delivering electronic parts. So I did a lot of traveling during that time, and I had very long hours. But they're trying to say I'm being deceptive by claiming university education. That's a lie. That's an absolute lie right there. But I did go to the United Electronics Institute, which is a fine school, and I learned a lot, and they did their job, and I'm very happy I went there. The article continues, although we have been able to, oh no, I have read that already. Okay, however, this man's career in electronics is not the worrying part, but rather he chose a profession of, quote, a self-proclaimed doctor, and although although now his page Herbalure Inc. is cleaned up, it was full of miracle cures. All right, this is laughable. Whoever wrote this doesn't even do the research. We don't and never have ever sold herbs or supplements on Herbalure. We don't, that's not what the Herbalure website does. Herbalure is my business that actually does scientific, we collect scientific research from university studies and medical journals like the Lancet and the Journal of the American Medical Society, and many others, and we rewrite that research in a way that herbalists and the public can understand it. That's what Herbalure does. It doesn't sell any herbs, never has, and you can go to the Wayback Machine, which is an internet archive service, and you can see that we don't sell and never have sold those things on Herbalure. So that's an absolute lie when they say, although his page Herbalure is cleaned up, implying that it had garbage on there before, it was full of miracle cures. It's an absolute lie. There are no miracle cures unless God himself commits a miracle cure. Although, okay, let me continue with the article. That's another absolute blatant lie, and it's not even a well-formed lie because it's, if you go back in the Internet Archive, you can see that Herbalure has never sold any supplements. Oh, thank you. We sell information in the form of research, and it's all referenced information to medical journals and university research, etc. Also, thank you, Laura, for reminding me. He says in quotes in this article, a self-proclaimed doctor. I do not claim to be a doctor. I never have. In fact, I have on a shortcut on my email program. If anybody emails me and wants information about what I did for mercury poisoning or some other ailment that I've had, at the very top in every single email I send out, I have a shortcut keyboard stroke where it says, I am not a doctor. I do not treat, diagnose, or cure symptoms or diseases. I only share my personal experience and research. That's a quote. I have that memorized because I've used that same clip for years, and I know exactly what it says word for word. So I don't claim to be a doctor. I've never claimed to be a doctor. That is another absolute lie to defame me. All right, so let me pick up where this article continues. Although most of them being ineffective homeopathic type. Okay, now he's going back to this information is going back to talking about Herbalure website saying that we're selling homeopathic type cures, which again, we've never sold any type of supplements on Herbalure ever since the beginning. The worrying part, continuing with the article, the worrying part was the claims of cures for imaginary diseases. Again, there are no claims for cures because there are no supplements on Herbalure. It's all reference medical research, written reference to medical research and clinical studies. Okay, now it continues. Still not worrying? Question mark. Well, just think of what might happen if someone would have a serious condition but only feels minor effects of this, would run into Mr. Tanner and would be convinced that it is just a chemtrail poisoning and would take one of these homeopathic miracle cures. In fact, again, no supplements were ever sold on Herblure. The real underlying issue would never be found due to Dr. Tanner's, in quotes, miracle chemtrail elixir. I don't sell any elixirs. I don't sell, besides the fact that I've never sold any supplements on Herblure ever, the supplements that we do sell on a completely different website are not custom. They are all formulated and packaged. I'm just a reseller by the North America's largest and oldest herb manufacturing company. Not me, and none of them have anything to do with chemtrails and never have. And continue the article, and the person could ultimately die because of a quack educated in electronics, calling me a quack educated in electronics. Okay, so the article continues, surely it could not be worse, question mark. Well, you are wrong. Russ Tanner is so submerged in pseudoscience that he is a eugenist enthusiast, which is incredibly laughable because I actually have anti-eugenics videos on one of my websites called orbisvitae.com. Go see for yourself. Visit the website Orbis Vitae, O-R-B like boy, I-S, Orbis, it's Latin for circle, Vitae, V-I-T-A-E, it's Latin for life, so it means circle of life, orbisvitae.com. Go into the forum and click on the secret news forum. And in that forum, you will find videos that expose eugenicists that have been in government and in positions of power in various governments in the world and history that exposes eugenicists. So to say that I'm a eugenics enthusiast is just blatantly untrue and ridiculous on its face. Okay, continue with the article. It says, until a few months ago, his page was filled with messages of white supremacy and other nonsense. There is no white supremacy on any of my websites. There never have been, and there never will be. This is another tactic that these disinformationalists try to do to attack the messenger. I know people in sales. I've known people who do sales for a long time. And they have a saying is that if you can't sell a product on its own merit, you baffle them with BS. Of course, except they don't use the term BS. They say it. But out of honor and dignity, I don't do that. But you know what? That's what they say. And that's what these disinformationalists do is that since they don't have merit to their arguments, they have to attack the messenger. And so when I come telling the public that I can smell and taste chemtrails and how it affects my health and how I have never seen a trail come from a high bypass turbofan jet, which is used on all the large military jets and all the commercial jets today, they don't produce condensation trails. It's low bypass turbofans and it's turbojets, which are different types of engines. They attack me because I'm telling the truth, and so they don't have any merit in their arguments. And so the only thing they have left to do is to attack the messenger. All right, so let me continue where they say I'm a eugenics. Okay, they were talking about white supremacy, which is just ridiculous. And of course, they do that with a lot of people. I mean, the only worst thing that they could probably say about somebody is that they're they look at child pornography or something, and they have done this with people in the past in higher positions, or congressmen, for instance. It's interesting that James Traficant, I think his name is James Traficant, was the last congressman in the United States to introduce a bill to shut down the Internal Revenue Service. And he had a feasible bill for doing that very thing. And guess what? Shortly thereafter, he was framed and jailed for fraud. And he is now freely talking about how it was all set up, it was all framed, because anybody who introduces bills in Congress to shut down the IRS, because that's a large source of money for the military-industrial complex, because 52% or so of the U.S. budget goes into the black hole of military-industrial complex and has no accountability, they're framed. And they make up stories about them, and they'll put them in jail, or they'll make them look bad in the public eye, and that's what they do. All right, so let me continue reading this article. I really want to get to my guests. I apologize for taking so long. Here's what the article continues to say. Although we see little of it in his online business or his client-generating Facebook page, Chemtrails Global Skywatch. Okay, that's my client-generating Facebook page. See how they use these techniques? This is a technique of association to try to make it look to people like the purpose of Chemtrails Global Skywatch Facebook page is to raise clients, which is laughable because I lose money. If I'm trying to raise clients and make money doing chemtrail activism, I'm doing a really bad job because I'm losing money. I spend money out of pocket every month to do this, and I would prefer not to have to do it at all. But I have to do it because the stuff they're spraying in the air has completely ruined my health and my life, and it infuriates me. All right, so let's see. His client-generating Facebook page, Chemtrails Global Skywatch, where he can scare people until they will buy his miracle cures. I don't have any miracle cures. There aren't any miracle cures. We are reading it loud and clear on his personal profile. Russ Tanner doesn't hate people of color, but Russ Tanner doesn't only hate people of color, but also has the less original hobby of hating Jews. What a joke. What a joke. My favorite guitar player in the world, Neil Schon, right? From Journey, Jewish. Uh, uh, I've worked with people of color in different venues. I have nothing against them. It is absolutely ridiculous character assassination. It's baseless, and these people are making this stuff up. And that's what they do because they have no basis in their arguments. Okay, let's move on to the last paragraph so I can move on. Overall, the rating on Russ Tanner is quote unquote dangerous because of the combination of ideologies, delusions, and something we can't describe as anything other than a scam. In a world of conspiracy theorists, a Dr. Jekyll / Mr. Hyde is common. But here we came up with a new term, Dr. Mengele, Mr. Hale. Anyway, so I wanted to just show that to you, and I just became aware of this in the last 2 weeks. This is the kind of stuff they do to commit character assassination because I am exposed. This just came up, as far as I know. It may have been on longer, but in the date here, unfortunately, at the bottom, if you can see this in the live stream, this date doesn't progress. It just keeps saying posted at 2:14 p.m. 10:13. Oh, 10:13. Okay, that was the date. Okay, 10:13. Okay, good. Because guess what? This was put up just a few days after I countered 3 disinformationalists on a talk show, and they were spreading disinformation saying that jet engines, high bypass turbofan engines that you have on commercial jets and large military jets produce condensation trails. And I spent about an hour rebutting on their chat room to the point where they actually brought my name up because I was rebutting their articles, and then a few days later, this appeared. So I'm not surprised because I tell the truth, and the truth will ultimately win out. They have to do character assassination. So there you have it. There is, even though I've been defamed before in a much lesser sense, this is the first big blog spot post that I have earned among the ranks of activists, courtesy of the disinformationalist money that's being spent by your government. Remember Hillary Clinton lobbying Congress back in late 2010, I think it was, for something like $300 million to spread disinformation, to start disinformation. Anyway, so there you have it. There's the article. And what I want to do now, right before I bring my guests on, and thank you for being patient. Laura, you've known me for how many years now? And speak nice and loud so they can hear you, please.
Oh, over 20. I've lost count.
All right, so I've known you for a long time. We met because my brother and your sister got married, and
Right.
I met you at a family meeting, and we became friends. And long story short, we eventually went into business. We both did not like our jobs, and we were looking for a way out. And what happened?
Well, we started the Herbalure business after several years of doing other things, and have been doing that ever since until you started with the chemtrail activism. But this article really is just it's just a piece of work, really. Anyone that knows Russ, he's got lots of friends, from high school that he's still in contact with. Um, Definitely, this article does in no way um, have any bearing in truth upon who Russ really is. And naming our business again is just another personal attack. Um, that that just goes to show how completely false and imaginary all of this stuff really is. Russ is the first person to say that he's not a doctor when he's talking to people about health, and he's, been helping people with their health problems, as far as giving them, his experience and his opinions on things that have helped him that might be helpful to them. He's been doing that for years. And has never charged for it. This is all just part of the work that he does to, for his passion to make the world a better place. Um, I'm the one that runs the office and pays the bills, and sometimes I get frustrated with him because he spends so much time, helping people, and instead of doing things that could actually, help with paying the bills. But that's part of his ministry. That's what he does, and I support him in that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When people call and they want information, and I say, well, this is the supplement I use, this is the one that some people I know use, work for them. Do I say, please go to our website and go buy it?
No, absolutely not.
What do I tell them?
You tell people to go to their local health food store.
That's right.
And support the small businesses, the small mom and pop local health food
Did we
stores.
rehearse this beforehand? Did I tell you anything to say right now before? No, absolutely not. This is coming from her own brain. Because you heard me say that to people. What do I tell people?
You always tell them to go to their local health food store and support their local small business.
Their local economy is what I tell them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. That's the words you use. Yeah.
Yeah, I say go find these things at your local health food store and support your local economy. And then I tell them if you can't find them or you have trouble or whatever, you're welcome to visit our website if you want. But
let me just add that if the people that do, if they can't find it locally, and if they do go to our website, we offer the same wholesale, what we call member price that it costs us to get. So, people that go to the website are buying it for the same exact price that we buy it for. Now, the only way we make any money off of that website is the manufacturer of the products gives us a small commission like kickback directly from them, not from the customer. Nothing's, schemed off the top from the customer. The customers buy it for the same price that we do. In fact, the only reason we even started that website was because we had friends and family out of state that wanted to get some of the same supplements that we were doing. So we put the website together so they had an easy way of doing it and it could be shipped right to them. And I didn't have to go and do all the shipping and extra costs and time and stuff. So it was never even designed.
It was never about making money.
Right.
It was about, and we don't even make enough money to barely pay the electric bill from that anyway. I mean, I mean, the bottom line is we're not, if we're trying to make money from chemtrails, we're doing a horrible job. I mean, it's just a joke. But anyway, is there anything else you want to say? I mean, is it, what's my personality like? I'm a selfish guy who's really thinking about money all the time, and I'm into eugenics and all these weird things. And
No.
Is that the kind of guy I am?
Absolutely not. You spend, well, obviously here you are on a Monday night, trying to get the word out, trying to educate people, help people, spread the truth, and you're not getting paid for this. The bumper stickers and the signs that we offer on the Global Skywatch site, we're not making any money on those. In fact, we're losing money because I have to do all the packaging and shipping, and we're not charging, for that. So no, you're not doing this to make money. You're doing this because you're trying to get the word out and inform people. As far as your personality goes, the last thing you are is a scammer. You hate, people that do that, and you try to expose them whenever possible. So, whoever wrote this is just the lowest of the low. And, I believe that they will get what's, justly due to them.
Thank you. Yeah, they will one day, and I can't wait My name and my reputation mean a lot to me, which is why I treat people with respect, which is why you'll never hear me swear on this radio program. Not because I'm going to say other people can't swear, that's everybody's own decision, but it's just my own way of being respectful to people with gentle ears. And I completely respect that because, like Alex said, whether you're strong, whether you're gentle, we need to take care of each other. We all have valuable contributions to make this world. And, I respect that. I have certain areas of expertise. I do programming, I do electronics, but there are people who anybody you meet knows stuff you don't know, and they have experience you'll never have, and they can bring valuable information and experience to the table of whatever you're doing, and people need to respect each other, and even if you don't like somebody, they still have, if they just put you off of their personality or something, they're still valuable. Just because they rub you the wrong way, they still have something to bring to the table. They still, you know, uh, so my whole idea is mutual respect. So I don't know. I guess I could talk on and on, but I'm just this article is written by. Well, this is on a website. This is on a website on Blogspot. It's a blog on Blogspot that has a whole bunch of disinformation articles. And in fact, I just noticed while Laura was talking down here, let me show you the right. Here's a whole bunch of articles about MadisonStar, who's going to be talking with us in just a minute. So, all right, Laura, thank you so much. This kind of thing just, I kind of don't let it bother me because I know that there will be justice in the end. And these people who are doing disinformation, there will be justice. And it's not going to come from me because I'm not the one, it's not my job to deliver vengeance. But when that vengeance comes through the rightful deliverer of vengeance, whoever that is, or whenever that is, they will handle it the way it should be handled. It's not my job. But I just want to expose this slander and this defamation of character because it's disgusting on every level, especially when we're trying to fight the largest crime against humanity in human history that I suffer with every day. So, anything else?
I just, well, like I've told you before, you don't get discouraged. I know it is discouraging to see stuff like this out there. All different types of evil can be discouraging, but the truth will win out eventually. The truth will prevail, and people just need to band together, support each other, and run people like this, out of the ring.
Yeah, I would like to see them incarcerated for this. I mean, this is libel, slander, and they're aiding and abetting by defaming me because I'm promoting chemtrail or because I'm exposing chemtrails. Uh, they're aiding and abetting the largest crime against humanity in human history. And these people aren't even very smart because historically disinformationalists are eliminated by their employers. So these people are in a really stupid position. I mean, it's just you should not be a disinformationalist. Besides the fact that it's morally disgusting, it's really dangerous to your health.
Well, and whoever wrote this isn't even very good at it because, like you pointed out, everything they said was a lie and had nothing to back it up. So, I mean, they're not even very good at what they're doing.
Yeah, but they're just trying to. That's what they do. They just try to defame the
Well, they
messenger.
know a lot of people that read articles like this won't bother to check the facts. People read the headlines and they just believe what the headlines say and move on. Which is why your mainstream news media can get away with all the disinformation and lies that it promotes.
That's exactly right.
People don't do their due diligence. They don't do their homework. They don't take the time to educate themselves and find out the truth. And people like this guy are just capitalizing on that.
That's right. That's well said. And because you have your nose, Laura does all the research for our business, and she will be embarrassed telling so, but she's a genius. She's brilliant. She knows more. She's just absolutely brilliant. She's a great writer. She's the central reason why our business has supported us. We don't make a lot of money, but we do support ourselves and pay the bills. Um, Laura, have you ever seen mainstream media lie about herbal studies and research? Lie. I mean, I'm talking about bold-faced lies. I mean, they just twist it and say things that aren't true.
Absolutely.
How, I mean, often, once in a while?
Well, I don't watch mainstream news much anymore, but
That's true, yeah.
you
But they
know,
used to. Yeah.
years and years ago when I used to, yes, absolutely. I mean that's just. Although I will say that now with the advent of the internet,
Good
with
point, yeah. Yeah.
Facebook, now they have to be more accountable because
Right.
people are watching and so that's great, that's wonderful. But yes, they do still do it.
That's true, actually. That's a very good point, is that alternative media has now made mainstream media have to come closer and closer to the truth. And I've seen it happen, and I love it. The pressure is on, and that's why they're turning up the heat. That's,
Exactly.
yeah,
And they're resorting to personal attacks and stuff like that
that's right.
because you guys, all of you who are doing this are exposing the truth and, the crosshairs are being, put on them and, they're fighting back, as lamely as they can.
Right, right, absolutely. All right, real quickly, well, don't leave yet.
Okay.
I like having you here. I think it's very, it's nice. I appreciate being backed up. I want to show just a couple things from Facebook, and then we're going to get to our Purple Star people who really who have earned the Purple Stars for being um, uh, the real heroes in this fight. Here's um, here's a couple clips from Facebook where I actually went head to head with a disinformationalist. Newsflash, Russell, you're fat because your mommy was fat. You're losing your hair because you have bad genes. You're depressed because you're I mean, this is just the kind of stuff they try to discourage you and make you feel bad. Here's a couple more right below it. They just, egg you on and try to upset you. Of course, I just block these people. But this time I went a few hours with this person round and round because I wanted to see if I could get them to admit anything. I mean, that's why I went round and round with this guy. Um, Actually, here's another. Let me show you a couple other little clips. These are from Facebook, and this is where this guy's a disinformationalist. Um, if you have gentle eyes, cover your eyes. Um, there's another thing that they said. This is when he was getting upset because I was communicating with him, but I would block some of his posts, and so he was getting upset because these people work in disinformation have a sense of pride. They're in control, they have the power, they can, they're working for the big money, they're getting paid to do this, um, and so they get all arrogant about this. Um, and so when I start winning an argument or giving them real information, they get upset, and this guy got upset. Look at this one, this post here. Russell, I'm so excited. My recommendation has been accepted. You are getting the new gel spray in Bangor, because I live near Bangor. It's concentrated. You'll love it. Additionally, we have software that is able to extract your friends list locations from Facebook. Each zip code that show a heavy chemtard population will be next on the blanket list. Here it comes. So in other words, they're going to blanket spray. This is what this guy is actually saying. All right, let me show you the last one. I feel bad that I've had my guests wait so long because I really want to talk to them, but I wanted to show all this stuff. Where's the last one I want to show? There we go. Finally, after a few hours of going around and around with this guy and blocking some of his posts and letting other ones show up, here's what he wrote, and this is exactly what I was hoping to get. He said, "That's it. I've had enough. I confess I am a paid shill for the U.S. government. I am going to file a recommendation report to spray the ever-living blank out of Bangor, Maine. Prepare to get fumigated, blah." And I was thrilled when he finally got so angry that he just fessed up. Love it. Absolutely love it. This is real. These programs are real. Disinformation programs, your government, your tax dollars are going to support this. So if you're new to this subject, you need to tell your government that you do not accept the spreading of lies as a legitimate budgetary item for the government. Laura, you're still here. I asked you to say thank you. I'm going to get to my guests. Is there anything else you want to say? Because, I have the highest respect for Laura. She's brilliant. I mean, she is I call her the genius all the time. You know, she doesn't like that, but I just, you know, I'm very lucky to be in business with somebody who's very, very intelligent. We're both very hardworking people. We both have our passions in life to help people, and Laura's especially an animal lover. Um, so anything else you want to share, Laura?
Well, I will just say that I've never met, and I've met lots of people in all the different things that I've been involved in my life, but I've never met anyone who will go out of his way, spend his time, spend his money, whether he's, you know, sick from chemtrails with a headache and not feeling good and having chest pains, you know, whatever the situation is, he will rise to the occasion and help someone, you know, whenever anyone asks. And I have to give him just an immense amount of credit, tremendous amount of respect. He is he's the most giving person, giving of himself that I've ever met, far beyond me. You know, you know, just I can't I can't say enough about. There'll be nothing but good things said, you know, when you pass on to your glory. Let me just put it that way,
Thank you
which
very
I
much.
hope isn't anytime soon.
I hope not too, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. And I'm also trying to avoid a lot of other people from passing on soon because of
Yes,
this.
definitely.
You know, that's why I immediately wrote my article about my heart attack when I discovered the potassium. It's because, you know, it makes my life is only valuable when I know that other people have benefited from it or other lives have been saved. I mean, that is my fuel. And here I feel embarrassed because I sound like I'm promoting myself, um, but thank you, Laura. I don't know what else
Well,
to say.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Mm.
I'm so glad you do what you do because I could never do what you do. You know, talking about genius, you are a walking genius with all the stuff that you can memorize about this government, you know, bill and that thing and all your engineering and electronics and all this knowledge that you have. And I'm just so grateful that you do this, and I'm happy to stay in the background and, you know, try to keep the lights on so that you can keep doing this. So
It's not like I don't make any money for us, right? I mean, I without the websites or without, you
well,
know,
if you had to run the business, we'd be in serious trouble. So it's good you do the
right.
activism, and I'll go run the business.
Okay. Well, you rein me in a lot. It's like I tell people, you know, we're losing money. I mean, I have to. I go to Laura and ask her because she does the accounting, and I ask her for the money for the live stream because it's $49 a month, and our server is almost $90 a month, and we have advertising on a couple of our websites, but it does not even come close to cover. You know, it doesn't cover these costs. You know, we're losing money, and so it's just, you know.
Well, that's our contribution to the cause. So don't worry about it. Just
Well,
keep doing what
I
you're doing.
I'm yeah. I think if we get enough people, I mean, this can be stopped if there was just enough people. We just need to get people to be active.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
All right, I'll be done with the show in a little while, but
All
I got
right.
to bring my special guests on, which have been patiently waiting for an hour and a half now. So
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Well, there. I don't even know what to say. I am. I can't stand thieves and liars, and these people who slander my friends who I'm about to have on now and slander me for the work that we do, who are aiding and abetting this crime against humanity. Wow. And again, like I say, I'm not the dealer of vengeance or justice. I mean, that is not my job in life, you know, but he who is the one whose job that is, he will take care of it. In due time, it will be taken care of. And these people, you had better straighten your lives out. And you know what? I will say this too. I forgive you. You're being really evil, but I forgive you for what you're doing. I'm not going to hold that because it'll burn me up. It'll it'll drain me. And as much as I value my reputation, and I do, um, I don't know if I'm getting a message coming through. Okay, we're getting trolls are taking over the chat room. Here, it's happening right now. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Kim is an incredible activists, but we have trolls who are actually taking over our chat room. Isn't that just amazing? We expected to have some trouble tonight, and here we go. I guess we're having it. Yes, I can ban them. Put the names, Mark, if you would put the names of the people who are causing trouble, because I haven't been watching the chat. So put the names in the chat and I'll ban them right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Kim, thank you for letting me know. You're wonderful. You are a rock in this battle. I want to bring on, I'm going to try to multitask right now. If Mark or one of you guys just put the names of these people who are causing trouble in here, and I'll ban them right now. But I want to bring Madison and give me just a second. I want to clean up this chat real quick. These guys are being really mean. Okay, good. Thank you for your patience, guys. All right, any more names that need to be banned, guys? Put it right in the chat real quick here. So somebody's saying I'm cowardly because I'm telling the truth here. Is that what it is? It's just amazing. Thanks for your patience, guys. Tell you what, I'm going to keep monitoring the chat. MadisonStar is a rock for this movement. She is active. She is brave. And John Massaria is awesome, talented. He has made videos. He has done, I mean, he is the reason, here, let me unmute you guys. John is the reason that we got such a kickstart. Our group started growing exponentially because of a video he made of me and interviewing Dane Wigington. Guys, I'm so sorry this took so long. This is such an emotional subject. John, Madison, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Thank you guys for being on. Thank you so much for your patience. I would love, Madison, why don't you go first and introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is MadisonStar. I'm a chemtrail activist from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I also investigate many different things, including the death towers, and I call up all the federal agencies and try to get help with any assistance they can offer with chemtrails.
And in fact, we have on a previous show, we've had you on, and I did that in response because you called and had a long conversation with an EPA guy, right?
Right.
Right. Well, that was good. I encourage people to go look at the archives for Global Skywatch Radio, and here the interview I did with Madison Star Moon. She's brave, and I love what she does. John, you have been invaluable in this fight. You have put your expertise in video. I don't know anyone who can make videos like you. Tell us about who you are, what you do.
Well, Russ, actually, the videos that I make have, kind of just came out just because I really love the way you and Dane brought the subject and the importance of it. I had no idea about chemtrails, and I kind of suspected, but you guys really enlightened me, so to speak, about the subject, and I enjoy now doing activism because I was trolled and followed by misinformant agents, because I felt like, you know what, if somebody's paying these people to do this, there must be something there. So I couldn't help myself but continue in all sorts of fashion. So I make videos about Fukushima, Monsanto, anything that these guys want to cover up, I want to uncover. So I enjoy doing the videos, and I thank you, Russ, for kind of waking me up and getting me active. But I really owe it to the trolls. So thank you, trolls, because you just make activists super strong. Every time you attack an activist, you activate about 200 interests to figure out why you're attacking them. So thank you guys for making our movement so much stronger. Thanks for trying to ban all the YouTube videos and making us stronger. because people just want to find out more. So thank you guys. I really appreciate what you do because you're actually helping our cause.
That's right. That's a really good point. Isn't to you who are listening who don't realize that your government is spending millions of dollars to spread disinformation. In fact, let me show you this link. If you want to see this, go to the Global Skywatch website and click on the active news feed right here up in the top menu, and go on down and take a look at this wonderful article. Let's see, right here. Here it is. CFR meeting says millions spent to confuse public about the need for geoengineering. This is right from the Council on Foreign Relations. People who are in the Council on Foreign Relations. This is a video where they actually say we're spending millions to confuse the public about global warming, hence the need for geoengineering. And this article has it here. Check it out. Madison and John, don't you think that the fact that there are so many disinformationalists and shills, that this is evidence that there's conspiracy? Because what other need would you have for people to deliberately spread lies unless there was a cover-up?
Well, I could speak just shortly. I've never seen anybody get attacked as much as Madison has. And she is a hero to a lot of people. She's waking up a lot of people about the subject. But she has over 6,000 followers. She is an important beacon to a lot of people, and she's also a troublemaker for companies like Monsanto and all the other companies like General Electric and whoever else is behind all the chemical spraying. We don't know exactly who's doing it, but we do know it's chemical companies, and they're hiring people by the troves to attack Madison. So I don't want to say anything other than that, and I'll leave it up to Madison to kind of go over what's been happening to her. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I'm going to just try to fill in people about public relations and management of perception and how this all works. So I've actually outlined a bunch of stuff. But Madison, you take it away on what you've been going through.
Okay. Basically, where I'm at now with the trolling is they've, taken it to another level. They always take it to another level. It started off with just the basic trolling, little comments here and there. Then it started getting out of control, and I want people to know that Facebook is involved with this. Facebook allows me to be trolled and other activists. Facebook, no matter how many times you report it, they'll take a personal photo of you, and then they'll write something, it's completely a lie, and they'll post it on their page. And first of all, that's stealing a photo. They're not allowed to use my image. And, you report it, and it goes against all Facebook guidelines. But for some reason, Facebook feels it's acceptable and will allow these trolls and stalkers to commit internet crimes against me and all of us, that do this. So the newest scary things that they do to me, I'll just highlight, the top scary things, is number one is, I'll get a message out of nowhere that says, I'm reporting you to the Department of Defense right now. Just out of nowhere. I'll say, okay, well, is that going to help stop the chemtrails? And then they'll say, wait 1 minute. And then they'll come back with their filed complaint against me to the Department of Defense. And, they'll send me the screenshots of the form and everything that they filled out. And, okay, that's one thing. Then they will impersonate me. This is the thing that I hate the most. They will create an account using either my birth name, my real name, my activist name, a spinoff of my name. They'll use my photos, my radio shows, terms that I would use. They'll actually say, oh, Robbie is doing this, and they'll use my own friends' names. And to get people confused to think that it is me, because I'm banned so much from Facebook, and as everybody knows or doesn't know, two of my Facebook accounts, my only two personal accounts I've had on Facebook, were removed by Facebook. And I was forced into a public figure profile, which has absolutely no settings. There's no privacy setting. There's no chat, no messaging. There's no news feed. There's no search bar. I can't share anything. It's basically like permanently being in Facebook jail. But I went ahead and rolled with the punches on that and accepted it, and just went ahead and kept on, doing my thing. Well, when they realized, wow, she still isn't going away, we've got to do more stuff. What they've done now is they've created a website dedicated to me, to lying about me. They take my personal photos, they publish my real birth name, tell people how they can find me, where my location is, and how to find me through the white pages. They incite people to do violent things to me. They say sexual things to me. We have documented over 500 screenshots of threats on my life, threats on me, my friends, my defacing comments. I will highlight some of those right now for you. Some of my favorite lies this week about me have been, I think they were actually taken from that same website, Russ, that you're on,
Yeah.
where they say that I'm part of the Illuminati. I'm a Freemason. I work on the death towers. I'm not a disinformation agent. I'm a government agent that's working like, you know, I don't know what they're trying to say with that. What are some other ones? Okay, yes, the satanic one. They actually broke down my name, MadisonStar Moon, which is a completely made-up name that I just made up randomly because I like the stars and the moon, and Madison, I've always liked that name. It's cute, you know, so I just put it together as a little name. They broke it down to where I worship Satan. To where I worship Satan. So, and it's just a complete onslaught of continuous posts on my page. They create pages I can't block. Now, I know, Russ, you had said that you would have that same problem where you can't block certain people.
Yeah.
Well, they create Facebook pages that I cannot block. So they're permanently allowed to comment on my page. They make fake newspaper articles about me. I could go on, but I think I've ranted enough about specifics. The long of the short is Facebook's in on it. I know it for a fact. Your cries fall on deaf ears. There's no one to report this to. You don't have a live human. They get your family involved, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous what they're doing to us personally, putting our personal information out there, because aside from fearing repercussions from government-paid goons, you have to fear also the crazies that are out there that now have your personal information, location, and ways to get at you. I do want to share just something interesting that happened this weekend. We are in Williamsburg right now, and we decided to go out, and investigate some of the death towers that are around here because there are so many. And they have actually these crazy towers that aren't even in Virginia Beach that I've seen. So as we were investigating these, we just follow a road, and we're taking the pictures of the towers. And we end up at the end of this road where there's nowhere to go except for this facility. And so I said, what is this place? When we started, looking around, we still couldn't figure out what it was. And I said, I think this is a military base. But I said, just go in and park. I'll go up and ask them what it is. So we park, and I go up and just march right up there like it's nothing. And the man, there's two guards that look at it. And I said, is this a military base? And the man immediately just walks down, and he says, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I just wanted to know if you do any tours here. We're, sightseeing, and we want to take some pictures of, different military bases and stuff like that. And he said, what kinds of things do you want to see? And I said, stuff like this, government buildings or military bases. And he said, well, you know what? He goes, you're trespassing now. I need to see your ID and everything. And he immediately got real stern and everything. I was like, okay, wow, I must have walked up to the wrong place. So we walked back to the car. We give him our identification. And so then I turn and I look at him, and it's not military. He's in the Department of Defense, full uniform with the guns and everything. And Robbie said that the other man, was it M16? The other man comes out with the M16 assault rifle that he didn't have before, obviously trying to intimidate us. And I looked and I said, oh, you're not the military, you're the Department of Defense. And he immediately said, where do you need directions to? You can't be here, you have to go. And so I just asked him how to get out of there. Basically, I knew how to get out, turn the car around, and we left. I don't want to give too much specifics, really, honestly, for my own safety. And but we actually investigated the place that we went to, and it is the number one place that any chemtrail activist would never, ever want to go. I can just tell you that it was the lair of the bad guys. That's all I'm going to say to that. And now they have my name, but I spoke with my father about it and said, do I need to worry? And he said, well, the feds already had your name a while back, and these people are connected with the feds. If anything, you just made it that much more obvious, what you're doing or who you are. But we went there accidentally. It was just a total act of God. That's what Robbie said. He said God brought us here, because where else am I going to accidentally go to this facility for the Department of Defense? It's just impossible. But they are connected with these towers, so
Well,
Yeah, so basically, the trolls are on to me. These people are paid, and there's no doubt in my mind. Look, I don't have 3,000 people, and I probably think that's probably a good number of the amount of people I've been trolled through my entire career of activism. There's not that many people that know I exist. Madison Star Moon is a made-up name. It is not a real person. It's my public figure name. It's a name that I go by now, do all my shows. But it's not a well-known name. I'm just a normal human. So these people are told who I am, and then they're told to stalk me, bother me, and do all this other crimes against me.
now, for people who are new to this, because we're getting more and more new people on here who are trying to find out about chemtrails. I just talked to somebody new about it today, shortly before the show. I called somebody for tech support. What are these death towers you're talking about?
Well, they're the Gwen Towers, the Ground Wave Emergency Network, but they're actually they're masked as cell phone towers. But if you look at a stereotypical cell phone tower, they look a specific way. These mammoth monstrosities have all kinds of crazy things going on. I post a lot of pictures on my Facebook page, MadisonStar Moon, and each one of them have drums and different antennas and all kinds of transmitters coming off of them. They're mounted on buildings. And for here in Williamsburg, many of the locations that we visited yesterday had no warning signs. Most all of them had no site numbers. We were trying our hardest just to get site numbers so we could call back the locations and find out any information. But as in the past, proprietary information that no tower company will give you. They won't give you any of the equipment that's on there, tell you any information about it. So you're pretty much left to be radiated by these things. They are dangerous. They leak. I had a whistleblower on my show 9 who told us all about them if he works on the towers. And that's another thing that they'll try to do. If you have a whistleblower or anyone that has any information for you and the trolls get wind of it, they will scare off your whistleblowers and they will try to defame or discredit your whistleblowers as well by giving false information. They gave false information on 9 when he came on, and it was just disgusting. They were saying he was an alcoholic. The man doesn't even drink. And they were saying that all the information he was giving on the towers, he was just making it up as he went along. He's been working on them for over 20 years. So, any information that you have that is valid, especially with whistleblowers. And also, I'd like to point out one Meta Blank debunker who is probably the worst out of all of them. He's written articles about all of us. And, that is a crime when you blatantly lie about someone. It's one thing to debunk someone, but it's another thing to blatantly lie about them. So, we thought about doing, a class action lawsuit someday. And I think that's a good idea. We need to set up some type of page where everyone who's trolled can share information on the people that are trolling them, so we can just all block them out. That's what I do. I block, ban, and remove any troll comments, and except from the pages that stalk me that I can't get away from.
All right, I'd like to back you up on the Facebook thing. We've had massive numbers of trolls who came in on our Facebook page, which is called Chemtrails Global Skywatch, and many of these people, you can't ban them. When you go to the member list, they'll be posting derogatory comments. They'll be saying, "Oh, regular jet engines produce contrails," which they do not high bypass turbofans. They'll post all this disinformation, and I'll go to the list of members to try to ban them, and they're not even on the member list. Yet they're posting in our group, so there's no way to ban them. So unless this is some notoriously in some kind of glitch, or you want to write it off to that. It's just amazing the trouble that we've had. Thankfully, thank you so much to Paul Mack and Cheryl, who have been so valuable in helping us get it under control, and Kim, who has been just the backbone along with Cheryl. But Kim was originally with us, who kept our group sane and kept weeding out the trolls and kept fighting, and we got it under control now. But just to back you up, it does look like Facebook works together with them, to try to break the rules, so we can't get rid of these people.
Hey, Russ, I would like to point out something about you. On several of the pages that I'm harassed on, they post about you, but to avoid any type of defamation or anything like that, they call you Rusty Tanner. So they put a twist. They call me Madison Loon or Looney. You know, they just pick little parts of your name so people will still know who they're talking about, but then you can't sue them or anything like that. Now they put symbols over top of my name, so I can't get them at all. But I just, you know, if ever I see my name or my picture being used by these freaks, I always try to report it, although it's like reporting, you know, the criminal to the criminal.
Exactly.
And Facebook does also does other things, like they will ban me and then leave my page up, so it's completely open and vulnerable, and allow all the shills, no matter how many of my friends report it, will allow all these shills to go on and destroy my page until I'm unbanned and able to go back and remove the comments.
Yeah.
And it's a very disgusting place to be when you can't defend your own page, your own honor, your own, you know, statements and photos. It's just very violating of me. And Facebook has made it now where I have no privacy settings, so there's no way for me to avoid this.
Now, for some time, I mean, did this get to you emotionally for a while? I mean, did this really get on your back? It's frustrating. It's maddening. I mean, what kind of emotions have you gone through?
I'd say most of it is anger. I don't get sad over it. I just get really angry about it that it's allowed to go on. Now, we tried to contact the ACLU, and they told us there was like a 30-day waiting period. There's also the Electric Frontier Foundation, which helps people like us in these situations with Facebook, Google, and other internet crimes. So I have investigated those. But I'll say, you know, the support from my friends and other fellow activists that know the deal and know what's going on with me, they keep me going. You know, I'm doing this because I believe in the cause. I'm sure as heck not going to let some dirty troll that's paid by the government to cover these facts erase me. You know, I'll keep fighting.
You know, Alex told a story that he just came across where this guy admitted that he is involved in disinformation techniques for the Naval Intelligence Agency or something along those lines. Just happened to him. He just met the guy. This is very real. What happened to me a couple years ago, I think it was in late 2011, early 2012, I had a guy call me, and he said that his buddy, I've told this story before, but for those who are new, this guy had a military buddy that he had served with, and they were buddies in the military. This guy, every year they get together and they visit at some gathering of some sort. I think it's a military gathering where the veterans get together. He said that his friend was set up by the military, and he had about 200 employees that sat in a room in cubicles, creating fake Facebook accounts, fake websites, fake blogs on the internet, spreading disinformation. And his military buddy was set up making all kinds of money. In fact, his friend was bragging about a new house on the water he had bought and bragging about all the money that he's making. He's rolling in the dough now because apparently an old commander from the military called him up, asked him if he was interested, and set him up in this business with your tax dollars to disinform the public, to confuse the public about chemtrails and geoengineering, to lie to the public so the public puts their guard down and lets this go on longer so that more harm is done. And this guy was mad about it. And he called me. He wanted to let me know. He said, "You won't believe this." But my friend, and he told me this whole story about this. So this stuff is deadly real. You mentioned that you've got a lot of friends that support you. Do you want to bring any of them on now? I think you've got a few that called in. Okay, any of those who want to join the conversation with us?
Hold on, Russ.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a couple of things before we start having I've set up something here, but I do want to add to what you were just saying, that I do have a friend who basically told me the same exact thing, that he has a really good friend who basically operates a phone room, call room, misinformation center, and this is in California. So, and I made friends with him on Facebook, and I'm just letting you know that there's more than obviously there's tons of them out there, and we've all been hit by some of them. But I want to say this stuff is making us stronger. It's bringing attention to us more. Madison, when I first met you, you were kind of new to this, and now look at you, man. You've informed so many people, so congratulations. you're now in the limelight, and these guys are making you famous. There are people like Ted Gunderson, who was the former FBI chief, who was constantly bombarded with these trolls. And I'm sure everybody knows about him and his death dump videos that he makes on aircraft.org or whatever it was.
Yeah, aircraft.org, right, yeah.
Right. He's the chief of the FBI, and you want to go try to discredit that guy? Give me a break. Okay, and there's also a doctor who, there's tons of doctors out there, and this debunking misinformation sock puppet website filled with these trolls that constantly go on at people's channels, they actually bid. I have this information from a person who I know in the DOD. He said that they actually bid on people, and this is brand new information that I'm bringing out for the first time. They actually bid on groups, and if you're lucky, you get the contract. And if you do your job well, they give you more people. And they have people that are specialists for these type of things, and they give them special software, and they can actually really, really just gang up on you. And eventually what you get is an activist who either becomes super popular, and then, who knows what happens from there, or they get burned out. And the activist just says, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's not worth it. I'm not making any money from this. People aren't even listening to me, so they give up. Dr. Deagle was a doctor who actually treated pilots, and you can find out more information about him. We all know about Christina, who was a USAF engineer for the aircraft carriers, who came forward saying that she signed off on all these types of barium and aluminum strontium chemicals that were on her the aircraft carrier, and she got discredited. There's all these people, tons and tons of videos are being taken down. Conspiracy theories is real. If you Google it and you go to Wikipedia, you will see an article by Cass Sunstein, and the government freely says we might self-engage in counter-speech, marshaling arguments to discredit conspiracy theories. This is exactly what's going on. There was a video that I just posted a little while ago, probably like a week ago. It was by Hans Allers. I'm not trying to say his name, Russ. Can you help me out with this?
Yeah, Hans Wellers. Wellers, I think it is.
Wellers, okay. And he's with Project Lights Out, and he put together a video that he actually talked to a pilot, and that video has been banned on YouTube completely. I re-edited the video, so I guess they haven't gotten around to trying to take it down, but believe me, I put it on my Vimeo, I put it on my Facebook page, and you know what? Every time they take down these types of videos, they just get more and more popular. So that's where the pilot actually admitted that chemtrails are a necessary evil.
Those are his words. He actually said a necessary evil.
Correct. And there's a video that I made with the help of a person who called up NASA, where the NASA expert, who's a scientist, and he has all kinds of PhDs. This guy is talking about chemtrails being deployed out of the NASA rockets. So the term chemtrail is real, and why our spell correctors can't use or correct, I still can't get my spell corrector to learn the word chemtrails. It still comes up as not a real word. But yet this guy who has PhDs, and there's all kinds of papers, HR 2977, and there's the USAF documents that prove the chemtrail is a real word, and this guy here in 2013 from NASA admitting that there is chemtrails. The Department of Defense has something called perception management, and they want to make sure whatever military plans are going on, or operations or psyops that are going on for psychological warfare. And I'm not sure if it's really the government doing this or some other agency, such as like Monsanto. Monsanto is an evil, evil company. And if you go on that website that debunks, you'll see that they support Monsanto in everything they do. They go so far as to say that DDT is really not that bad. And if you look at it, that's a bioaccumulable never really going away kind of chemical that stays in the soil and just kills everything. Monsanto doesn't make anything good. Not one thing. Not one thing. And their profits are 55 million. Well, no, sorry. Their net worth right now is $55 billion. Now, Russ, I don't know how much money you're making, selling your whatever it is that you're selling, trying to get by. I don't make any money from activism, and I know people like Madison doesn't make any money from activism. Activism does not pay. And I've talked to Dean Wigington. That guy spent probably $50,000 or $60,000 of his own money because this costs money. Nobody wants to pay for activism. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody pays.
Absolutely. The irony of this is that the people who are doing the disinformation are defending, supporting those who are making billions.
Right. That's what my point was. Monsanto posted this huge profit. Their net worth just keeps going up. They acquired a company called Blackwater, which is now called Academia. It used to be called XE. They keep changing the name because Blackwater was actually implemented in so many different crimes against humanity. And Monsanto hired this company, Academia, and what they do is they actually have a public relations department that will seek out. They assign people, they give them money, they have a budget, and they say, okay, you're going to bid out on, you're going to basically take out any bad publicity about, genetically modified foods or anything else. Did you know that Monsanto also has nuclear plants? Did you know that? That they actually supply plutonium to the government for making weapons, of obviously for killing people. Monsanto doesn't do anything good. So Monsanto is a terrible company, and that debunking website supports everything that they do. So when you see that and you put that together with chemtrails, these guys are defending the wrong side of good.
Yeah.
The only thing that they're defending is money.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody's paying them. They have to be paid because there is so much money to. And you talk about herbs and stuff like that. These things are healthy for you. They're from nature. They're from God, wherever you want to say it's from. These things are natural, and they can't patent those things. The pharmaceutical companies make obviously millions upon millions on a new drug introduction, even though at the end of the commercial they'll say that this might kill you in the end or might make you psychologically unstable where you might want to commit suicide. These are drugs that are being given to our kids and our families, but that's okay. But they're telling you, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have dandelion, or you can't have, whatever it is that you need from nature. That we're going so backwards here in what we're doing.
Let me back you up on that. Not too many years ago, they outlawed Ma Wong, which was which I love. Ma Wong is an herb that contains ephedra. And what they did, there's a book actually written about this, and I wish I could remember. It's called Ephedra, Fact and Fiction, I think. I think that's what it's called. Now, if you go to the store, you can't get ephedra because they outlawed it. Basically, what they did is they had some baseball player that had a heart attack. He had a heart condition. He was drinking alcohol. He was drinking coffee and had a heart attack. But he had also taken Ma Wong at some point. They don't even know when, but they blamed it on the Ma Wong. There's evidence that the death certificate was actually modified. It was actually taken over by the feds and then modified. The book goes into great explanation about this. And based on that and a couple other things that are very, very shady, they outlawed this. So now you can only buy Sudafed. Well, listen to that word. Pseudo means fake. Like if you have a bacteria that has a pseudopodium, pseudo means fake, podium means foot. So pseudopodium is a fake foot. The word pseudo means fake. So you go to the drugstore, you buy Sudafed. What is that? It's fake ephedra. It's the patented version of ephedra. So what did they do? Did they save lives? Did they help all the people who are benefiting from ephedra? No. What they did is they protected the patent so they could make more money.
And you know what, Russ? If you have heart problems and you take Sudafed, you could die of a heart attack also. So,
So it's not any safer. It's still over the counter. Go ahead.
The point is that even when they do have prescription drugs that are approved by FDA, somehow these lobbyists judges come together and they approve stuff that could give you a heart attack, could give you cancer, could give you, I don't know, leaky gut syndrome or leaky butt syndrome, whatever it is. I mean, they get approvals for everything. Hair might fall out. You might want to kill your spouse. These are okay.
Well, the FDA is run by the pharmaceutical. I mean, Michael Taylor, who is now one of the highest level people in the FDA, used to work for the legal counsel for Monsanto or Searle. He may have, I don't know if he's connected with Monsanto, but Searle, which is the company that we can give credit to aspartame for, and Judge, what is
Yeah, but Monsanto's been lobbying for aspartame and saccharin since the early, 1900s, actually. So a lot of people don't know that. They keep getting turned down, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, they got approved. But go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, and then Judge William Thomas, what's his name? Thomas? We're under a nasty, I've got a nasty headache right now because we're...
It's Clarence.
Clarence Thomas, that's it. Clarence Thomas used to work legal counsel for Monsanto, and he's on the Supreme Court.
Right.
And this is not a coincidence. This is, for those of you who are new to us, yeah, and Rumsfeld there, thank you in the chat room, Rob. Rumsfeld used to work for Searle. I mean, Rumsfeld's connected with all kinds of stuff, and he was, in the Bush administration. These things are not... thank you, Lexi. Taylor was the former general counsel for Monsanto. Okay, and now he's in one of the highest positions in the FDA. But this stuff does not happen. If you're new to this kind of corruption that's going on and you think that the FDA is looking out for you, it's not. The FDA is not for you. The FDA is there to protect the industry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that, there's all sorts of terminology out there. If you look into Monsanto and their history, they have really, they don't do anything good for people. They're involved with all sorts of badness for the world and for our families, but they get protected, and then they hire these companies who are criminals. The Blackwater Group is a bunch of criminals who got away with murder and trading drug money and gun trading. And they got away with everything pretty much with they got away with just light fines, no jail time. And they remind me of the banks that do all these kinds of terrible things to the people like us who pay the mortgages, but they'll steal billions, but yet they only get fined like a couple 100,000 or maybe a few million, but they just stole billions from the people, but they got away with it. They don't go to jail. They're too big to jail. They're too important to jail. So they hire these companies, and I guess if enough people said, you know what, enough is enough, and there's a terminology called fear, uncertainty, doubt, and you can find this on Climate Viewer. Fear, uncertainty, doubt is a pretty, it's a propaganda term, basically. It's basically a FUD. And, the companies use this terminology, and the public relations, like I said, the perception management, these are all things that they do. That's why they're attacking your personality, Russ. They don't really attack me anymore. I think that they realize that there's not much to attack about me. They looked into my history. I have a Bachelor of Science. I got it from the NYIT. They realized that they can't really, they tried to contact the John Mack Institute and a bunch of other places, and I think they did. And I'm not worried about what they did to me. I care about people like Madison who have such a huge following, and they're wearing her down. But Madison, I'm here to tell you, man, you're going to be at 10,000 likes on your page, and you're going to wake up more people because of all this crap that's happening to you.
Absolutely.
Got to be that way. So,
absolutely.
Russ, and I think that all this stuff that they're doing is going to work against them, and they can't shut us all down. They can't. You
can't hide the truth forever. And real quick, Alexi on the chat said Taylor's head of the FDA. She would know. She's up on this more than anybody I know. So just to throw that in there. So I have it. Another person says Joe Rogan sucks. 5'7", all he cares about is money and being cool. Yeah, Joe Rogan. We did a show on Joe Rogan. Please look at our archive. But thanks for the info, guys. Thank you, Lexi. Yes.
I'm sorry if
Matt,
I went on too much for us there.
Not at all. Not at all. I feel bad that I made you guys wait so long. But you're absolutely right. And I can't tell you how much gratitude I have for people like you and Madison who are putting themselves in the spotlight. I don't think either one of you ever really wanted to do this at all, did you?
No, I have better things to do with my time than fight off trolls on the internet and post pictures of myself being poisoned to death from the sky.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had no intention of doing this. You know, when they started mentioning my name on their website, I figured that there's got to be something they're trying to cover up, and that's exactly what they're doing. And the deeper you dig, they can just get rid of so much information. But if you dig deep enough, you'll find out that there are plenty of credible people with PhDs and doctorates, and people at MIT and Harvard that all know about this stuff. And slowly they're coming to the surface, and they're saying, you know what, I am part of this problem. I don't like it. It's not good for anybody. And the more people we get to come forward that are so-called professionals. But I want to point out, the guys at that debunking website have no degrees. They claim that they worked in certain fields.
Now, John, you're talking about Meta Blah, right?
The debunking website. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I don't say the whole name, but if somebody happens to come across it, they'll recognize that we're calling it Meta Blah. We're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell people what it really is, but
Debunking.
that debunking. Go ahead, John.
Whatever you want to call them, I don't like to use their name either, but they are part of the FUD, or fear, uncertainty, doubt. So what they do is they try to mix up words and try to make it sound like they have some kind of influence, and that's what they do with Joe Rogan. They discredit people who are professionals. Like I said before, anything they could do, they can actually take a piece of paper that says, for instance, 1, 2, 3. And tell you that's not 1, 2, 3. Come on.
Exactly.
It's not really what, you know. And how could they sit there and actually debunk a piece of paper? There's all kinds of spray programs on the American public that was exposed in the past, and they always say, no, that was not really what you read. And I say to myself, that's when I cut them off completely. Because they're just liars. They're disinformation tactics that they use. They have a protocol, and they're paid by the group. If you are in a specific type of group, if you're a genetically modified group, if you're a chemtrailer, if you're an activist for fracking, if you hate nuclear weapons, if you hate nuclear power, if you don't like gas or petroleum and you want to bring new energy, there's all these people, and they're grouped into, and they're bid on in these groups, okay? And that's how they do it. So, guys, I don't care. I'd like to see your bank statements at those companies that say that they're not working for somebody, and actually see their tax returns. That's the only time I'll actually believe that they're not making money.
I totally agree, because there's absolutely no reason why they would be doing this. I know that Mick Blah, the guy who heads most of these debunking websites, says he just does it as a hobby. That's his word. And
you know what? I've looked into his past, and this guy does nothing for free. Nothing. He's not, you know, he might make some wood or something out of steel. I don't know. He works with his hands or something.
He does woodworking, John.
Yeah, woodworking and diddling his wood. But whatever he's doing with that, I'm sure somewhere he's probably selling it somewhere, because this guy, since an early age, is an entrepreneur. And I don't think he does it. Let me put it to you this way. How can you support a company that does nothing but death?
Yeah, there's something wrong with people who support the. You have to get people who are desperate, who are blackmailable, who don't care and have no conscience. You know, that's all you can work with.
Exactly. They're soulless. And I actually have screenshots of them saying there is no soul inside your body. And I said, well, you have no heart. And they're like, no, my heart's beating inside my chest. And I said, that's not the type of heart I mean. They have no soul. They have no heart. They have no caring towards people. And most of them, and I'm sorry to say this, they don't have any kids that they care about for the future. Unless you have your own baby that you nurture and bring into this world, you don't care as much about the world until you're a father or mother. And you could try to understand what I'm saying, but you think about their future much more than your own. And you could say your cousins have babies. Everybody has a cousin who has a baby, or an uncle. That's ridiculous. It's not the same thing.
And these people, almost every single one of these guys, has no heart, no soul, does not believe in God, and does not believe that any of this is wrong. Monsanto does no wrong. And DDT, Agent Orange was not that bad.
Well,
these are people that are psychopathic.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just the public doesn't want to believe that people like this really exist in the world. But you know, the monsters of this world don't look like monsters. They dress in suits and ties, and they conduct themselves with the appearance of integrity. I want to, you know, I want to give you guys the floor, and I also want to get MadisonStar's uh, friends to talk about what they want to talk about in just a minute. But so if any of you want to talk with Madison or talk about Madison, and you're on the call, press *6 on your phone so you'll be entered into the Q&A queue, and then I'll bring you on in just a minute. But real quick, John, do you want to just tell people kind of what happened with you, or at least what these people have done to you, or do you not want to go there? What do you?
Russ, I'm really nobody. I turn my Facebook page on private. I make videos once in a while. When I find a video that I like, I turn it into something that people can watch and enjoy. Some of them are really important to me. Fukushima is a huge subject that I would love to talk about, but that's not now. But you need to look into the rain that's going on around California and Canada. It's really affecting everybody. It's radiated, and I suggest people take Geiger counters. But as far as talking about those guys, what they did to me, they did nothing. I could care less what they did to me, because I'm just a guy who cares about whoever cares about this world.
But they did slander you. They did lie about you, and they tried to defame your character.
They tried to. They basically made threats that I felt like were against my life, saying you get into trouble, and you know, they said something to the effect of they were using the analogy of John Doe, and that John Doe was laying dead on the ground. And I said, you know, this is crazy. We argued for 3 or 4 days, and they kept banning me on their website and I was using no profanity or anything, but every time I came up with answer the question, they would like, you're banned, because I kept asking them to show me where this is wrong, and they kept saying there is nothing wrong. So they banned me like 3 times, and then they permanently banned me because I threatened a lawsuit against them. And to tell you the truth, the law is still on our side. If you're being threatened or harassed, you can actually contact your attorney. You could subpoena their. I took business law 1, 2, 3. I didn't want to become an attorney, but I do want to know about the law, because the law will either enslave you or set you free if you know how to use it properly. And they have no right to harass you or defame you. And is against the law as far as the Constitution stands right now in the Bill of Rights. Nobody has the right to do these things against you. You have the right to freedom and live a happy life in this country. And there's all kinds of lawsuits that people make frivolous ones. This is real. You guys have documents and proof. You could take them for a ride and take them to the cleaners. I know where all these people live, and I know the types of assets that they have. You can attach their assets and keep them quiet. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not about to do that unless they start to really gang up on me. But if we all get together and say, you know what, enough is enough, we can actually make a class action lawsuit and stop these people from doing it. If they're not doing it for profit, or if they are doing it for profit, this will all come to the surface. So if they keep threatening you and keep harassing you, all they're going to do is find a nice lawsuit on their lap, and they'll have to provide all the paperwork to the courts.
And then all their names will be public.
Correct. Their names will be public. Their records will be public. Their URLs and their IP addresses, everything could be subpoenaed, and it's very easy. So these people that are making those blog websites about Russ and Madison, I challenge you to take it down before you do get held liable. I'm sure there's one attorney out there who will take this case, probably gratis, and we'll be able to take you guys on with no problem, because this is slander. And I hope that you can find it in your heart to just take that down, because you don't need to call attention to an activist any more than you are. And that's what you guys, you're just empowering, Russ Tanner and Madison. No matter what you do, you're wrong. So take it down. That's what I say.
Lexi made a really good point on the chat. She just said not only their names, but who's paying them. That would be wonderful to know too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure. You could subpoena their tax records and stuff like that to prove that they're not getting paid. But you have to understand, Russ, if there are big groups like Monsanto and Blackwater or XE or Academia behind us, they're professionals they have lobbyists that are much more stronger than the average attorney. A class action lawsuit is probably the only thing that might work, because if you have 50 people from around the United States that have the same claim, I don't think anybody could really try to stop all 50 of them.
Right.
I think you might even get more than that. I mean, Madison, you got 6,000 followers. Russ, you have how many followers on your page? I mean, there must be hundreds of people that wouldn't mind joining up on a class action lawsuit against this.
Yeah.
Debunking website.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we've got somebody in the Q&A queue here who wants to talk. I think it might be a friend of yours, Madison. We'll have to see. But I want to give Madison some airtime with her supporters too. Hi, caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. This is Bobby Norton. I'm a good friend of Madison. I started following her earlier this year, and I've been getting to know her, and we've become pretty close friends. We're pretty local, so we've been getting to know each other, and I've been there through most of this, and I've seen how much she gets trolled, and I mean, it really manifests itself in so many different forms too. What people need to realize, it's not just someone spreading lies; it's people pretending to be her. And there's several of those accounts, and it just goes on and on. There will people who aren't like blatantly spreading lies, but they're trying to make it seem like there's no substance on her page by just posting nonsense comments and irrelevant questions. I mean, anyone interested in the page already kind of knows the extent of the level of corruption that we're dealing with, and the fact that there have been so many cover-ups, and there already are enough declassified documents to prove we know that this is going on, and there's a mountain of evidence and data that scientifically, beyond a shadow of a doubt, says, yeah, like the people who know this, there's already no question. So the lengths they go to just try and frustrate and thwart her are really extreme. But I'm totally supportive of her, and I try to be there for her as much as I can. I've never met anyone who can not let it get to her, get to them as much as she doesn't let it get to her. So I just want to
good.
My compliments in regards to her, and say that I'm going to continue being there to support her.
Well, that's awesome, Madison. This is your buddy then, huh?
Yeah, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. That was nice.
You're welcome.
Well, yeah, that's we just had somebody else in the queue. I was just about to get you on, but you disappeared. So call back in or press *6 on your phone if you'd like to join in the chat. What we all know what's going on. We know these people are getting paid. We know that they're that they're using money. They're using tax dollars. Eventually, I believe it comes from tax dollars. But I want the public to know that if we don't stand against this, then we're allowing corruption to continue. And these people who spread disinformation are hindering our work getting the truth out. And this, in my opinion, I call it over and over again. I say this is the largest crime against humanity in human history. This affects everything that breathes, everything that uses soil. Dane Wigington, I co-host a show every Saturday with him, and he says nothing else matters. If they continue doing this, nothing else matters. So people need to wake up and realize that these people who are working against this and spreading disinformation are aiding and abetting the largest crime against humanity in human history. I want to mention, while it's still on the chat, Lexi mentioned about obtaining an injunction. That might be the approach that we're supposed to take. Would love to learn about that. Would love to set up a legal defense fund and get this kind of activity exposed and shut down because I believe it is illegal. I mean, these are aiding and abetting the largest crime against humanity in human history. So how can that not be illegal? So, Madison, you've listened in a lot. What do you want to expose? Any of the things that any other things that have happened to you? Any of the characteristics of these people? or what is it you want to tell everyone? What do you want to say?
I just want to tell everybody, if you get to the point that you're getting trolled, you definitely are onto something. I believe that these people are given a person. Like, I don't know who was saying it earlier, but I think they're probably saying, you take Madison, okay, you take Thomas, all right, and you're going to take care of John, and it's just like that. They are assigned us, and we are their project, and so they have nothing better to do with their time because this is their job to, dummy up articles and debunk us and write falsehoods about things that we're doing, and that's just their job. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. If you do get trolled, just block them, ban them, remove them. If you can't get rid of them, just keep doing your thing. Whatever you do, do not allow these dirty trolls to take the activism out of you. Don't let them take your fire, because that's what they want to do. They want to tire you out. Like what John said, they want you to leave, and I think they get some huge bonus if the activist that they're assigned to finally gives up. And I'm not going to say that there haven't been times that I haven't felt like that. There've been some close calls with me where I've been like, okay, I cannot do this online anymore. I'll just have to come up with another thing. But the online is where it's at as far as spreading the word. You can do it on the street too, which is what we like to do. We like to approach people and give them DVDs and stuff. But you can get the word out a lot faster and easier online. But with that,
Madison, I want to tell you, I think you hit a real nerve with those debunkers when you started hitting the streets with the DVDs, because you're waking up completely zombie people. You have to understand, we have our own circles online, and we don't see much outside that circle. There are so many other circles that you're hitting when you hit them on the street, and I think that's one of the main reasons why they're targeting you, because you're going to wake up a whole new nest of people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to start a whole new movement. And Robbie, I know you made those DVDs. Wow, that was great. Don't stop that. They hate that. Do you see the thumbs down on your videos when as soon as you post them, you got 5 thumbs down and you got 3 views? How is that possible? That's because they're watching you. They're watching the effect of what you're doing to the public. You are making a difference when you do that.
Yes.
No idea. No idea.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Robbie, thank you for that. I appreciate your work as well. I'm not familiar with YouTube. I don't know you, but obviously, if you're a friend of Madison, then you're on the force here. So that's great.
Well, thanks, Russ. I appreciate it. I mean, I really admire everything you guys do and appreciate it too. So.
Absolutely. We have another caller that you can stay on if you want to, Robbie.
Sure.
If you want to stick with us, you're welcome to. Got another caller. I just brought you on. How are you doing this evening?
How you doing? Hi, Madison. This is Dexter Farrell calling.
Hi, Dexter.
So who's Dexter?
I tell you, this has been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. Madison, I tell you, she is a trooper. I remember a while ago when I first noticed her post online on Facebook. It was in reference to what she made. I believe it was on a title page. I think one of the first times she was smacked on the wrist by Facebook, and she posted about it, and it got my attention. And I was like, she knows about the chemtrails, and they're giving her a hard time. Let me send her a friend request. The rest is history.
Right.
So, right. So with all that, touching on the subject of how they have attacked Madison and how they have beat her up, they literally did a psych-off on her, and her and I have talked about it. And I tell you, they were really brutal to her. I mean, they suspended her page, and then she couldn't defend herself, and it started, they stole her identity, and it started pretending that it was her and the things that we're saying, and then they were like role-playing. I mean, I witnessed it. I saw it. So when I was going over the post, what they were doing, and I was seeing what Madison was trying to do in response to defend herself to Robert, I pieced it together pretty quick, and I understood exactly what was going on. And, it's a shame what's going on in this country. Most people don't know the truth about what's going on, and Madison is one of the main activists out there to let people know. It's just like what you were talking about earlier. Madison is paying attention to a whole other group of people, And these trolls and agents and everything else, they don't want that. That's exactly correct. She's planting new seeds of awareness as to what's going on, and they don't want that at all.
Yeah, they don't like, especially, I think they especially don't like when we wake up new people, when we're out doing cold calls on the street and handing out DVDs and flyers and stuff. They don't want new people woken up about this.
No, they don't.
Because I think, honestly, I think this is kind of a numbers game. If you told the entire population about chemtrails, there's a certain percentage of those people that would instantly latch onto it because they'd say, yeah, I wondered what all these lines were in the sky that I didn't see when I was younger. And they would immediately start looking into it. So getting the word out to new people is key, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, Madison has done an outstanding job on that. In spite of being beat down by these trolls, she's been suspended. They played all kind of psyop games on her. And I mentioned to her when her and I talked that you realize that we're playing chess. They're playing chess with humanity as a whole on this planet.
Yeah.
It's real. They're playing multi-level chess.
Yeah.
And it's a reality. It certainly is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. In the story where they slandered me that I shared earlier, they called me eugenicist, which is
okay.
Oh, everything they accuse is what they're doing. It's just amazing. Wow. Well, where do we go from here? It's 11 o'clock Eastern time. I admire all you people for all the work that you're doing. God knows I'm sitting here with a nasty headache because we got hit with another nasty plume, which isn't dissipating much yet. And I go through, this is my life for the last 8 years. It's insane that governments should do this. And what's more insane is that people, the public, if you're new to this subject and you're just listening to this program, you're not going to hear about this on mainstream news. Or if you do, on the rare occasion, they're going to say that these are contrails. High bypass jet turbofans do not produce contrails. And I have written information, and I will accumulate more information to back that up. You will see contrails come out on very rare occasion from low bypass jet turbofans and turbojets, which are only used on fighters and used to be used on the Boeing 707, but they've all been refitted with the new CFM high bypass turbofans because they're a lot more efficient. And when the disinformationalists come and they start, I had a guy coming at me a couple weeks ago. He was actually messaging me saying, well, they had all these patents. They were trying to get rid of contrails, and because contrails do produce these engines. And I came back at him and I said, those patents are for low bypass turbofans and turbojets. They're not for high bypass. They're for low bypass, and there's a world of difference. Because in a high bypass turbofan, most people don't realize this, the vast majority of air that goes through is just pushed through by a fan. A high bypass turbofan is essentially a prop engine in a duct, in a cylinder, and that's what, in fact, it's called. It's called a ducted turbofan because it's in a cylinder. That's what the cylinder is, you see, and then the turbine in the middle spins the propeller, and it's actually called a fan. If you go to Wikipedia and you look at the layout, or go do a search for the new GE next, God, I'm forgetting the name because my head is throbbing. Next gen engines, they make beautiful videos with 3D renderings. The biggest part of the engine that pushes air is the fan. They actually call it a fan. And so when I came back at this guy who's trying to give me this disinformation, he shut down completely. He's gone, went away, will not answer, or nothing. And so, but they're using these tactics to confuse the public. They're using these ideas that patents were used to try to get rid of contrails, and they are misapplying them to the wrong kinds of engines. These are the tactics that they use. In this article that went up on October 13th, just a few days after I rebutted on a talk show live, I got on the chat and just went crazy rebutting all the things they were saying. And it was funny because there was actually a little bit of dead air. You can hear them stop all their dialogue and starting paying attention to the chat room because nobody else was rebutting them. So we all, this is what they do. Guys, where do we go from here? Madison, what do we do now?
I just wanted to say I first wanted to say to John that, when I first started off I idolized John's work, and I looked up to him, for guidance during all of this. This is in the beginning before I was even being trolled. And so I just want to, say now, how much I appreciate everything that John's done to support me and to help me through all of this. And friends like Dexter and Robbie who, stick with me. A lot of people don't want to visit my page or comment on my page because then they probably feel like they'll be a target. But just to the people that do still support me, even seeing this all go down, I appreciate it. And you, Russ, are the man. And I think everybody knows that. And so, of course, you're going to get trolled. But I always feel like it's an honor to be trolled next to you on a page. If ever there's, one thing about me and then there's something with you next to it, it's an honor, honestly.
Well, thank you. And you are the troll magnet. You are the Purple Heart earner of this entire issue that we're going through. And I thank you, and I'm honored to have you on here. And I want to tell John, I've told him this before. I don't know if I mentioned this in the pre-talk. Mark is asking online if we'll invite them back. Of course we will. But John, I mean, the reason our Facebook page, we have the two Facebook pages that exploded with membership. We just started going from like 50 new members a week, which is what, 10 a day, if that, to 400, 500. And this happened when John took an interview that I did with Dane Wigington and he turned it into a video and it went viral on YouTube. And I was wondering, I started seeing our numbers explode and I was like, is this a Facebook glitch or a Facebook game?
Russ,
Yeah.
that video went on about 30 YouTube channels, and I owe it all to the trolls who actually made me take down my video. I actually got intimidated by them. I took it down off my channel. You know what happened? A funny thing happened. More people got interested, and more people started to make copies of it, and more people got, and visited your website. And Dane actually said, John, I was ready to give up. And then you made that video. He goes, you know how many interviews I get because of that video? It's not even on my channel, for God's sakes. It's not even like hit 3,000 hits on my channel. Maybe it's up to 6,000, I don't know. But there are channels that had over 120,000 hits, and there's about 30 of them. So that means that there's millions of people watching that for us, and it's not me, man. That was a simple, really, really simple video, but it was the intense feeling that you and Dane gave, and the presentation was so professional, and the urgency of the whole entire subject is captivating. You made it happen, Russ, and Dane made it happen. I took it down. I was a coward. And you know what? I put it back up after I realized how important it was. So I thank you, Russ, for waking me up. And Madison, man, you are a star. So,
Thanks.
and you're a hero, Madison, to
Yeah.
a lot of people. You're waking people up, and you're making them realize. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff in the world. We can't stop it all, obviously, but we can try.
Yeah, and we should, thank you, John, and thank you, Matt. I mean, we should not be discouraged because, the effect of our words is much more influential. And then we know, and when you run into people who are very resistant and they fight with you, it's because they're intimidated. You provoke something in them. So we should never get discouraged when we meet people who seem completely shut down, completely opposed, or even get mad at us in public about this, real people, not shills, but real people. We shouldn't get discouraged because those words resonate in their heads. They think about what we're saying. They contemplate whether those things are true. And when you convert one person, that person will eventually convert 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people more. This, through the law of multiplication, is going to take off. The dam is going to break. And right now we're chipping away at it. So we should never be discouraged because we are making progress, and we're making progress fast. And that's why they're pouring so much money into disinformation.
All right. Well, I want to, again, thank you, disinformation agents, because you're really calling more people to the attention of this. So
Absolutely.
I still hope that you take down the defamation of character, because now you're going to be held liable personally. But I want to thank them because they're just shedding more light and getting more interested parties on it. So I don't see this as a bad thing, Russ. As long as you have thick skin and you know that deep down in your heart you're helping people with what you do, even your business. There's nothing wrong with making a profit, Russ, and you're not supposed to just get by. But if you're just getting by, that's okay too. I mean, you're doing it because you love it. And Madison, it's okay not to make money at what you're doing. And I do the same thing. I don't get paid for this. So I put my time in it. My wife thinks I'm crazy. And my kids, you know what? All of my kids and their friends, they all talk about what I talk about, which is, try to keep yourself well informed.
Yeah.
The best we can do.
Yeah.
Stay well informed.
Very well said. Mark on the chat said group hug for the trolls, and Sky Valley says Madison rocks, and I want to. It's about time to wrap this up, and I want the guys who called in, please stay on. I would love to give all of you a final word. There's so much I know what we could talk about, but there's two questions from the chat real quick, and then we'll get to some final words here. What is Madison's platform and Facebook page? That's the question we have for you.
Okay, I have MadisonStar Moon on Facebook, and then I also have Chemtrail Cover Up, although that page has been duplicated by the trolls and they're using my photo. So you just have to look for the one that has over 1,000 followers on that one, and that's or 1,000 likes, excuse me. And Chemtrail Cover Up is where I keep all my shows.
Okay, Chemtrail Cover Up. You also have a talk show, right?
Yeah, it's on Blog Talk Radio. All you have to do is basically you can Google me, and one of my shows will pop up, and if you click that, and then it'll pull up the Blog Talk, and you can click the link, and it'll pull up all my radio shows.
Okay, your Blog Talk Radio, what's it called on Blog Talk Radio, and what night do you have your show on?
Yeah, it's just MadisonStar Moon, and I don't really have a schedule. I just do shows whenever people, tell me they want to do a show with me, and then we just do it.
All right, perfect. And we have another question from the chat for any of you who want to take it. I thought the UN was part of the problem. Why is it the spraying is going on in NATO countries almost exclusively? Anybody?
Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, I can propose my own theory about that. Is I mean, we're the country that they want to control the most. I mean, talking about the perception management, so the multiple reasons that they have for spraying these aerosols that we're all breathing in and suffering from on a daily basis. I mean, it helps push their agenda along. We're all stuck dealing with the repercussions of the fallout from this stuff while they're pushing their agenda of global control of all human resources. I mean, it's just completely, they're traitors, really, at this point. It's unethical and ridiculous, and really, they are criminally liable. So that's why they're so afraid.
Is it exclusive to UN, people who sign on with the UN?
I have heard that from people that I spoke with in other NATO countries over in Europe and such, but I can't confirm that myself, but it definitely seems like that's maybe where they're doing the most of the spraying operations.
Yeah, the places I see it for the worst, guys, is I see pictures coming from Germany, England, Scotland, Arizona, California, Ohio, Michigan, New York. But I'll tell you this, I've also looked at in the Orient, I've looked at a lot of pictures, and I have seen them in Oriental countries, in China, in some pictures. They're harder to find, and they look a lot more subtle. They don't look anything like I see here. In South America, I looked at a lot of pictures in Ecuador, and I have seen quite a few in Ecuador as well. So I don't know if it's exclusively NATO countries. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. It is 11:15 here on the East Coast. I'm so glad to have had you on here. I want to give all you guys a final word, what you want to say to people, and what the future holds for us. So, Robbie, you want to start out?
Yeah, sure. You guys can find me on Facebook. I'm Robert Bruce Norton Jr. on there, and I just want to encourage everybody to stand for what is right. Something Madison said a long time ago that resonated with me was that if you don't stand for anything, then if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that definitely rings true. And you've got to take into account that all the real information and the truth is there, and you just got to be willing and care enough to sift through the disinformation and connect with people and stand for something. So I want to thank everyone on this show right now for doing just that. It's really an honor to be on the show with you guys and be part of this, be part of the what's left of humanity on the planet. Honestly, it's encouraging.
Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate that. I appreciate what you're doing for this and supporting Madison as well and speaking so highly of her. What's going to Robbie? If we don't get this to stop, what do you think is going to happen to this world?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people talking about like us going down the path of the machine kingdom, but I honestly don't even know how successful that can be. I mean, what they're gauging like success off of doesn't make sense to me. It does seem psychopathic because if nothing can live on the planet and they can barely kind of scrape by in like underground bunkers and use a bunch of like cyborg parts to kind of like maintain what's left, I don't think that's a future any of us want to see come to fruition. And it's just unfortunate that they can seem to pay people to just go along with this agenda and be so compartmentalized that they don't even know what they're participating in. So let's just, I mean, I think we just focused on creating the reality we want and manifesting a more organic fate for mankind where freedom does ring true and justice is served.
Well said. Nature has the solution for just about everything. Unfortunately, the powers that be have poisoned the air. They poisoned our dental fillings. They poisoned our vaccines. They have poisoned and made themselves rich in the meantime. Dexter, anything you want to say?
Yes, I can be found on Facebook, Dexter Farrell, and my title, the top page is titled "I Am Awake." And well, pretty much, I must say that this has been a fantastic show. And as far as what's going on, my overview of it is that I feel as though humanity as a whole on the planet, every human being that the masses, we're under attack. Humanity is under attack, and they're doing it in a number of ways. You know, like you just said, through the vaccines, through the food, through the air, through the water, through the air. Humanity is under attack, and the masses, more people need to be awakened to the truth as to what's going on around them. The warning signs are around us, and we need to call more people's attention to it. So
you mentioned your website, but the audio wasn't that clear. What is it again? I'm Awake.
Well, yeah, I'm on Facebook. My title on Facebook on the title page, so you know, is the correct Dexter Farrell is the title page. Is titled "I Am Awake," and I have my little shadow image on the small avatar. But the top title is "I Am Awake" on Facebook.
Very cool. Do you post? You know what? I've seen your account. I must have seen some of your videos. Do you have a lot of videos up there?
Well, yeah, I post videos. I also have two other pages. Actually, I have. Wait a minute. I have three other pages that I'm actually that I have created that have been controlled by Facebook. They won't let me advertise. That's another conversation. So anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for your support of Madison and for all the work that you do waking up people. I really appreciate everybody who's involved in this. As I sit here with a throbbing headache, even turning my eyes to the side, it hurts because of the inflammation from this plume that we're under right now that tastes like some kind of combination of iron and copper in the air. It's absolutely a nightmare. Most people can't taste it, but I do. At this level, Laura just begins to taste it a little bit, but for me, it's like I'm in a factory and they're blowing metal dust in the air. That's how intense it is. So thank you, Dexter. John, what would you like to say?
Just thanks, Russ, and thanks, Madison. That's it.
John, a man of few words, but
Concentrate on me. The guy's doing the work.
All right, in the purple.
You're doing this for 2 years, man. You deserve a medal too, of trying to get people awake. And I think, how many people are tuned in today, Russ, at our peak? Do you know?
We had 40 some on the live stream. We had 15 or 20 in the call, so we're 60 people, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
well, yeah, we have a lot of people listen to the replays though, because a lot of people can't stay up this late on the East Coast, and so thousands of people will hear the replay. But
yep, and I'm not saying that that's the whole idea. This is digital. it's gonna stay there archived, and people can go back on it and look at it. And that's what's so great, Russ. What you're doing is making these great recordings, and maybe somebody will come up and make a video of your upcoming shows or whatever. And we encourage people, if you know how to make a video, they're pretty easy to do. I mean, just put it together and put it on your YouTube channel and become an activist, getting the word out to people. Wake your mom up, wake your dad up, if you can, if they're not too calcified.
If they're not too calcified. I haven't heard it put that way before, but well,
yeah, they're calcified.
Thank you.
Try to wake them up, shake them.
Well,
clouds.
That's right. Thank you. And I just want to thank John. John's very humble about his effect, but he made not only our Facebook group but the other Chemtrails Facebook group. We both exploded with members at the same time. And again, he says it's because of our talk show, but without his video, it would not have gone viral. So he was absolutely instrumental in making that happen.
It's not me, it's the trolls.
Well, the troll. Okay, all right. Okay, it's the troll. Group hug for the trolls. I do thank you, John, for what you've done, and I do want to know on the chat, a couple of people are saying mention Saturday's show. Saturday, I co-host Geoengineering Watch Radio with Dane Wigington and Richard Sachs, and that's at 12 noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. At UCY TV, it's actually the letters UCY.TV. Just look through the list of programs for Geoengineering Watch Radio, and you'll see it there. The peak, Cheryl was letting me know in the chat that the peak for today in the live stream was 46. So that's even better than I thought. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl is one of our administrators. She is like, Iron Woman. She, like Kim, are both the backbone of our group, and I thank them so much. I know I sound like I have a lot of gratitude, but I do, because without you guys, the public wouldn't know about this. You are making sacrifices. Madison, the purple heart is yours. What do you want to tell people?
I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be a part of this. It means everything to me to fight this, and I just really appreciate what everybody does. I learn from all of you.
Well, another final word of short stature there, who few words, but they really mean a lot. Thank you guys for everything that you do. If I can ever help out in any way, if you, I do a lot of web stuff, and if you need to stream videos or whatever, please feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help out, get you set up if that's valuable at all in any way. So everyone who's listening, we are here every Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific Time at globalskywatch.com/live. You can see us on Facebook at Chemtrails Global Skywatch. That's the name of our Facebook group, and you can see us there. We have over 12,000 people. Probably in another 2 weeks, we'll have 13,000 people. We need those people to be active, alive, awake, working for this cause, because this is, as I say, the largest crime against humanity in human history. None of us are profiting from it. I don't want to be on radio. I don't want to do this. I would love to be doing music production and writing software. Those are a couple of things that I love to do, and helping people with their health, not for any profit. We are not making money off this. I spend money every month. So if I'm trying to make money doing this, shills, then I am doing a horrible job. So everyone who listens to this show, please, you're being affected, even if you don't smell or taste it. I feel like my ability to smell and taste this is a combination of a curse and a blessing. It's a curse that motivates me, and it's a blessing that lets me have the opportunity to tell you that there is metal tasting stuff and other stuff, up to 8 separate kinds of trails in the air that are sprayed at separate times but on schedules. They are predictable when they're going to spray within a certain tolerance, and this stuff makes people get headaches, makes them sick, tired, hyper, unable to focus. They get angry, they get lonely, they get depressed, they have a lot of emotional reactions to this. I've seen this for years, and if you breathe air, it is affecting use. So please learn about it and get involved, even if it's 5 minutes a day. And you email friends, you share a DVD with a friend. We have 12,000 people in our Facebook group, and if half of them spent 5 minutes a day, we would have 500 hours of activism in that. And that's a tremendous amount of power in waking the public up. Because once the public is no longer afraid to face this level of corruption and finally admit that it takes place, the dam will break and things will change rapidly. But we've got to push forward. After I'm done talking in a few more seconds, we will have the after talk session of this show where you can all chat. If you want to call into the call-in number 559-726-1300, access code 156230. You can get this from globalskywatch.com/live, and you can all chat as long as you want, and you can listen to the chat on the live stream. Thank you guys for joining us. You are heroes. You have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Russ.